vague on this is not true. She wanted to continue to support Ukraine. Whereas Donald Trump lied to you. He lied to all of us when it comes to his policy. He said that he's going to be able to solve the war as president-elect. He could solve it within 24 hours. What happened today? Russia rejected his peace plan outright. They didn't say yes to a single part of it. What's happening? I thought he said he could solve it in 24 hours.
Harris has issued no impactful or purposeful statement towards the war and what she would do as president. You just said it yourself. She met with Zelensky as vice president. Great. She talked about supporting Ukraine, which is a very vague statement. Great. But there's been nothing, when you go to the root of the statement, there's nothing, no X and Y's, no bolts, no integral structural foundations of her argument at all. It is all blanket statements.
How about this?
Blanket
statements. Sure. How about this? On September 26, 2024, remarks by VP Harris and President Zelensky of Ukraine before a bilateral meeting. Quote, Vice President Harris, well, President Zelensky, it's good to see you again. This is our 7th visit together, and welcome back to Washington, D.C. As I've made clear on our 6 previous meetings and throughout Putin's brutal aggression and war against Ukraine, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. I've been proud to stand with Ukraine. I will continue to stand with Ukraine, and I will work to ensure Ukraine prevails in this war. So,
that's a blanket statement.
About that. How is that at all vague? That sounds like a pretty clear position to me.
I'm not saying positionally. I'm saying how is she going to help Ukraine and Russia? Not help the.
So I will continue to stand with Ukraine. So I will continue to work that Ukraine to ensure that Ukraine prevails in this war.
That means absolutely nothing.
To be safe and secure and prosperous, the United States must continue to fulfill. Hold on. To be safe and secure and prosperous, the United States must continue to fulfill our longstanding role of global leadership. We must stand with our allies and partners. We must defend our democratic values and stand up to aggressors. We must stand for international order, rules, and norms. Do you have any question as to what Kamala Harris is saying there?
Yeah, no question, because it's absolutely a blanket statement that makes zero sense.
Wait, I'm sorry. How does Kamala Harris saying we have to stand with Ukraine make zero sense?
It is adding nothing to the conversation that is already unknown. We know that the Biden-Harris administration would support Ukraine. We know nothing about how they would go about that support. So you just keep reading the statement over and over again. It says, we will support Ukraine. How?
This is such nonsense. You just said that we know
you just read the statement 3 times.
You just said that we know the Biden-Harris administration is supporting Ukraine. We have no idea how they're doing that support. We know exactly how they're going about that support. They're sending weapons. They're sending a small amount of humanitarian aid. Well, it depends on the package you're talking about. I mean,
great. Let's talk about the most recent package that we can bring up. We can bring up the bipartisan.
I think Biden just authorized another $6 billion as part of a weapon or part of funding that was already appropriated by Congress.
Yep.
I think it was today. Actually, he did that.
Yep. So where does that connect anywhere with Harris's campaign promises towards Russia, Ukraine?
So
can you find me one specific?
If Harris is part of the Biden administration and she is saying that we must continue to stand with Ukraine and we will stand with Ukraine and we must fulfill our long stated obligation to this country, I think we know what she's going to do. Right?
Okay,
she talked about continuing to fund Ukraine.
That's great. We don't know at all what level that will be. And listen.
Well, yeah, of course. Because
listen, you're repeating.
Why would she set a level? I don't understand. That's such a bad point because war changes all the time. So why would she say, yeah, we're going to send this exact amount to Ukraine on my day one in office when it could be the case that Ukraine needs more or less depending on how the war goes?
Because
the goal, ridiculous thing to do.
The goal in this war is for peace in the region. Right. That is the goal. And by constantly deflecting and saying we support Ukraine, which is great. I think most people should agree with that, too. But that statement isn't helpful because when it comes to sitting at the geopolitical table with these leaders, there needs to be more of a staunch stance. There needs to be more foundational ideas on how we can promote peace rather than, OK, what we're going to do, we're going to support Ukraine. We're going to give them X amount of money. You're right. It fluctuates, obviously, as the warfare goes on. How are we ending this conflict? There's no end goal in mind with the Biden-Harris administration. You can look this up. There's been foreign policy experts. There's been Kyiv experts. There's been Washington. There's been Moscow experts. No one knows what the American in Washington right now. No one knows what the end goal is under the Biden-Harris administration because it's completely undefined. No, we don't. You can look at foreign policy. No, we don't. What is the end goal? Then you enlighten us. You enlighten the audience on what the end goal in Ukraine is.
I mean, look, I actually interviewed Secretary of State Anthony Blinken.
That's great. What does Anthony Blinken say?
I spoke to people at the State Department about what the United States wants to do here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, I'm just, this is, I don't know where you're getting this idea that it's like an unknown for the United States. We have no idea
unknown because
what
it's a
the
warfare.
end goal is.
Everything's evolving. Everything's evolving. Exactly.
This is just total nonsense. You're just speaking. You're like, It is. It is. The United States' goal here is to continue to support Ukraine as much as they need, or what we, the United States, can actually provide for them within our capabilities and getting it past Congress and whatnot. We've tried to have peace with Russia. We've said, hey, if we can end this war right now, there has to be no more death, no more conflict. If you, Russia, just take your troops out, stop invading Ukraine, give the land back, and we can end this conflict right now. Russia has consistently rejected that, saying, no, we're going to continue our invasion, we're going to continue the killing. And thus the United States has responded by saying, okay, then we're going to continue to support Ukraine. The goal here is to push Russia out of Ukraine. That's the goal. That's the United States goal right now. I don't know where you're getting this idea that, like, oh, we're just giving them money and seeing where it goes. No, not at all. There are the brightest minds in foreign policy working on this right now. This is very tactfully done. It's not just let's throw money at it and see what happens. It's a very important thing as well. And like also to say like Kamala Harris has vague policy on this, or the Biden administration is vague on this. Has Donald Trump detailed how he plans to end this war? Did he tell us before, or?
Regarding Donald Trump's policy on the war, he has not given an explicit thing other than saying that he's going to end the war.
So vague, right?
However,
there's no detail.
Both candidates have been vague, but however, when it comes, but think about this. Think about this with me, right? When there's been a warfare that has reached a stalemate, that you can see in Ukraine and Russia, and, a little territorial advances are happening every single day. If you look at the map, there's great maps you can look at. The Kyiv Independent, for instance, has good maps on this. But if you look at the maps, there's been a stalemate, right, in the warfare. However, under the Biden-Harris administration, there has been zero work at the negotiation table. There was initial peace talks in Istanbul in March 2022. However, since that, there's been zero peace talks. Okay, great. So we've had a stalemate at the peace talking table. We've had a stalemate on the battlefield. What is wrong? What's wrong is that the current American administration cannot handle peace talks with Russia and Ukraine. That's the thing. So by adding a new president into the fold, by adding a new administration, you would think that maybe it's more likely that both sides can come to the negotiation table under a different presidency. That's the logic there.
Wait, really? Because Russia just rejected their deal outright today. Russia has rejected deals from a number of different arbiters, like South Africa, for as well, has put forward peace deals. They rejected them too. Donald Trump's entire peace deal that he said he could get done before he even took office, he could get it done within 24 hours, was rejected outright today. So maybe it's the case that ending a war with a dictator is not as easy as just, hey, I'm going to bring him to the table, we're going to have him pick up the phones, and we're going to get this done like Donald Trump said. The Biden administration has been very clear that there could be peace today if Russia just pulls out their troops. Just end the war. Ukraine's not going to invade Russia. Russia doesn't invade Ukraine anymore. Done. The war's over. Done. No more fighting. Russia refuses because they're led by a maniac, a dictatorial maniac. So like, it's so baffling to me when I hear stuff like, oh, maybe a new president in the fold will switch things up a little bit and bring us toward peace. You don't understand. You're working with Putin. You're not working with a sane person who's like, you know what, I actually want peace as well. You're working with an utter maniac.
So under that logical pretense, and it's true, obviously, that Putin is an authoritarian who has these authoritarian aspirations. He made a letter to Ukraine in, I think, 2021, right before the war, stating that his goal was a greater Russia, that Ukraine's part of this sort of Russian empire. However, what we failed to mention here is if Trump cannot solve the conflict, if Biden-Harris cannot solve the conflict, then the conflict will just continue, right? So where is the stopping point then? Is the stopping point just whenever Putin feels like it? Is the stopping point when Ukraine gets conquered? Like, what is the stopping point? If you think that Washington no longer has influence in the world, in the geopolitical world, that's not the hegemon, that's not the leader, which is concerning, then where's the stopgap? If it's not coming through a president, where's the stopgap coming through?
I don't think that Washington isn't still the leader in the world regarding foreign policy. But again, we're working with a dictator who doesn't really care, because we're not going to put troops in Ukraine and we're not going to fight that war with our army. So Putin's just going to say no. But there doesn't have to be this is the stop. This is the end. This is the line we set, and we don't go past this line. The line should be, the idea for the United States should be, we will support Ukraine as long as they need it. That's it. If they need support, we, the United States, will provide them with the weapons to do that and fight back against Russia. Not only do we have a moral obligation to do that, but we've had an agreement with Ukraine, the Budapest Memorandum, since the 1990s to do that. And it's also the right thing to do given the world stage. China is watching. Iran is watching. And if we, the United States, falter and don't back our allies who we have agreements with, my God, kiss Taiwan goodbye. There should be no, we're going to stop here. We fund them as long as they need it. Simple as.
So, okay, so under your sort of proposal, there will be infinite funding and weapons exchanges until the conflict ceases to exist, correct?
Yeah, we should give Ukraine what they need, 100%.
And
Because when we do that, Ukraine's really successful. When we don't do that, Ukraine gets pushed back.
Actually, that's debatably untrue.
Oh my God!
It
Really?
is.
I mean, look at that 8-month
No.
period where we couldn't get the Ukraine bill passed. Look at the losses that Ukraine sustained.
Okay, so it's true that under certain influxes, especially at the beginning of the war, of U.S. weapons and U.S. sort of strategic support, that there was that Ukraine was able to repel Russia out of their region. However, the Kursk offensive, which happened recently in the past year, where Ukraine was able to get into the Kursk Oblast in Russia, that was under a time where there was zero support, very little support being sent to Ukraine from the U.S., and it was actually being sent to Ukraine from the U.S., and there was very little support that you saw through Congress. Now, when you see influxes, you see Russia respond with the exact same thing, with influxes, with greater mobilization efforts. So it's not fully true that greater resources being sent to Ukraine at certain times leads to a better success on the battlefield.
Really? Because that's what Ukrainian generals say.
Well, that's great, of course, because they want more money. They want more,
No, it's because that's the truth.
That makes sense, but it's actually not the truth.
It's because it's
not
the
the
truth.
truth. It's not the truth, actually.
Absolutely.
It's not the full truth.
It is absolutely.
It's absolutely not the full truth. And you can look at where the Kursk invasion started. You can look it up. Everyone can look on the internet when the Kursk invasion started.
When are you saying the Kursk offensive happened? Are you talking the summer, or when are you saying that you're putting the
Kursk offensive happened in April.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you can look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it took place in August.
Took place in
August 6, 2024. And even if you, by the way,
where's the funding? Where's the funding that happens there? Look at the funding.
Yeah, even if you put it in April, the aid bill that passed for Ukraine took place in April.
So in that August window, August 2024, was there any aid bill that was passed?
Yeah, so that's $60 billion that was passed for Ukraine in April.
No, August. The Kursk offensive.
Yeah, the Kursk offensive was in August. The bill was passed in April.
Great. Was there any bills passed near August?
Wait, I'm sorry. $60 billion was passed in April.
You keep saying April. I'm saying August.
Yeah, I know you're saying August. The money from April doesn't just go away in May.
The money in April. The money in April was spent.
By the way, it took place at the end of April, so May, June, July, August. Those were 4 months before the Kursk offensive. We sent them $60 billion in weapons. So do you think that
weaponry is automatically utilized on the battlefield? There's very little lag effect. No, it's not. There's very little lag effect.
That is total nonsense. That is total nonsense.
When
we're sending them munitions, like ammo, it's not utilized automatically on the battlefield. Some of the things like air defense systems we might send might be utilized automatically, but the munition, which is crucial in order to be able to defend yourself, like you have to have ammo, is not used automatically. That ammo lasts for quite some time, especially when it was $60 billion, one of the biggest packages we've sent to Ukraine. So if we're passing a $60 billion bill in April, and we all know that $60 billion, by the way, is also not just dispersed immediately, it's dispersed over time. Yeah, we're feeling pretty good in August that they can do the Kursk offensive. So you just got your dates mixed up, my man. You just got your dates mixed up.
Well, unfortunately, I may have mixed up April and August, but you are wrong in that the April bill had very little impact on that August offensive, and you actually see the opposite.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. If you think that
what you were asserting
a $60 billion no, hold on. If you think that $60 billion in April in munitions and weapons and whatnot had no impact on an offensive that took place 4 months later, then you're oblivious. I'm
sorry, it had very little impact because there's very little lag effect.
So really, what evidence do you have to suggest that there was very little impact? $60 billion in the end of April, so almost the beginning of May, and an offensive that took place in early August. What's the evidence that you have to suggest that it had no impact?
Okay, pull up the $60 billion and
just
tell me what specific defense systems are being utilized.
Just do me a favor. Just answer the question. Just answer the question.
I am. The $60 billion.
No, please.
That contained. I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question.
Then go. Because I'm not gonna pull up the bill and go line for line for you. So just tell me how it had no effect.
So the munitions and the weaponry that was given in that $60 billion aid package was mostly to defense systems, right? This was an offensive push into Kursk. They would not be utilized in the same token, right, towards an offensive in August.
What's your source that it's mostly defensive?
In the bill. You got to pull up the bill. I don't have the bill on my phone.
So go ahead. You can swipe out of the app and go find that it was mostly defensive. There we go. Oh, man, it's crazy, man. Apparently $60 billion had no effect. That's interesting.
So if you look up the bill, there's a lot of anti-stinger weaponry that's utilized. That's fully defensive.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure that anti-stinger missiles are included in it, but I'm asking, like, where do you have like an article that says it was overwhelmingly majority defensive weapons or something like that?
Well, I mean, you can go through the weapons. You can go through the weapons and see which ones are defensive.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can go do that.
Anti-aircraft, wire guided.
I can't hear you when you're off.
Artillery rocket system. Anti-aircraft missiles.
Yeah, where? First of all, what's your article so I can pull it up for you so you don't have to keep going out of this?
Defense.gov.
Yeah. So what is it? What's the headline?
Supplemental bill becomes law.
Supplemental bill becomes law.
Provides billions in aid for Ukraine.
Provides billions in aid. All right. Let's see here. Where were you? What paragraph were you on? I can't hear you again. Remember that?
Yeah, I was looking at it. 8. I think
8.
There's a long paragraph.
What's the word? What's the beginning of the sentence?
Shortly after the president spoke.
Shortly after the president spoke. Okay, let me see if I can find that. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, I see here. Shortly after the president spoke, the Defense Department released details of a $1 billion security assistance package for Ukraine. So did you miss that part of your article, or?
No. You're right. And then keep going through. Look at the weapons provided.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking. So I'm talking about the 60 billion as a whole. What you're citing here, in terms of those specific weapons you mentioned, is a separate $1 billion security assistance package for Ukraine, which includes things like RIM-7's AM-9 missiles, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, tube launch, optically tracked, wire-guided or TOW missiles, ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, things like that. That's a separate package of which we're discussing.
On top,
or that's a separate package from the 60 billion. It says literally in the first sentence of your. By the way, also, I mean, I'll make that point in a second. It says the first sentence is, shortly after the president spoke, the Defense Department released details of a $1 billion security assistance package. So this is not talking about the entirety of the 60 billion that was sent to Ukraine. And yeah.
I mean, I don't know where the other 59 billion went to. I don't know if that's listed anywhere, but at least, from just quick searching it, I mean, there you see 1 billion towards defense. It could be more, it could be less. I don't know.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think it's a pretty disingenuous point to look at $1 billion out of 61, I believe.
Well, I mean, we don't know
say,
if the other,
well, all the weapons
60
were
billion
defensive.
We don't know if the other 60 billion is going to.
Well, you said you were citing the bill. You were saying that the bill.
Well, yeah, I mean, there, I cited a portion of it at least. I don't know where more of it is. I mean, I'm sure.
I mean, you said that the majority of the weapons are defensive, which
I would, yes, a majority of the weapons are defensive.
I'm still waiting to see a source on that, but.
Okay. I mean, I'll make a claim. It may not be evidence. I think it is evidence. I don't know. Someone else can look.
It's not. But it's not evidence by anything you provided. So
that's the point. It's like, I did provide
obviously.
Yes.
Also,
I did provide something, but yes.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You provided
I just
something.
Provided 1 billion of.
Yeah, you provide. Yeah. So 1 billion out of 61 billion. Right. So and that also wasn't. It was a separate security assistance package that they announced. Right. That was not.
That was a part
main part. That's not the main part of the bill, right? That's
the main part of it. There was money that also went to Israel, but yes,
no, yeah. It was to Israel, it was to Taiwan, it was to Ukraine, it was a number of things. But to suggest that this package had nothing to do with the Kursk offensive is like It's just utter nonsense. I don't know why that's
because
the point
most of it was defensive
that you're willing
weapons.
to die on,
So
but like
it's just giving the point that the fact that us giving more resources to Ukraine in the idea of giving them weaponry, most of that weaponry is going to defensive systems. Their offensive systems are mostly utilized through their own sort of infrastructure on weaponry. That's just what I'm claiming.
And we're providing them artillery to do that.
We're providing them defensive.
Yes.
We're defining them
Yes.
defensive weapons to defend. Their offensive push into Kursk had very little to do with American support through weapons.
That's just not true. I mean, I can't even
it is.
fathom the argument that you're making here. That the $61 billion had nothing to do with the Kursk offensive. And also think about it this way. Let's just say, wait, hold on.
Package has very little to do with
Hold on. Let's just say hypothetically, this $61 billion in question, all of it went to defense. Then that gives Ukraine the ability to, instead of invest their own money and resources into defensive weapons, it allows them to put more to offensive weapons. And also it allows them to say, hey, Great Britain, hey, France, hey, Germany, whatever other countries are providing them with weapons, we need offensive weapons. We don't need defensive weapons. The United States has gotten that covered. So just the idea that the $60 billion package had nothing to do in terms of helping them with the Kursk offensive is complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. And I genuinely don't know why this is the hill you choose to die on.
I think that's very debatable. It's not. I'm pointing towards this funding that you're talking about that that Harris and Biden did that adds towards Harris's sort of electability to be president.
No, I mean,
I'm simply saying that I don't think it's a good point.
Aside, I'm specifically saying that, like, we know the Harris position on Ukraine. We know what she wants to do. We know we want that she wants to continue to support Ukraine. But with Donald Trump, he has told us nothing about what his plan is to solve the war. He lied to you. He lied to me. He lied to everybody regarding his ability to solve it as president-elect. And now the war is still going on, and Donald Trump has broken another promise. I'm just like, you keep saying, oh, well, we don't know Kamala Harris, and this $60 billion package had nothing to do with it. It was crazy. But where's Donald Trump's plan? Doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, he did meet with Zelensky in September before he was elected, and according to reports, him and Zelensky, they talked about the Ukrainian victory plan, and then Trump suggested what his plans were for Ukraine, that he would put Ukraine and Russia on the peace talking table, but that means really nothing until he becomes president, that we can see that he's actually been able to use that.
Donald Trump said he could solve it as president-elect, so he disagrees.
He said he will solve it in the first 24 hours of his term. That's what he said.
No, he said I could solve it as president-elect.
He may have rectified that statement as presidential-elect, which is a poor position to fall on, right?
Well, that's a position he ran on. He said it at the presidential debate with Kamala Harris.
He said in the first 24 hours of his presidency, he will solve it.
He said that at a CNN. One of the times he said it was at a CNN town hall. During the presidential debate with Kamala Harris, he said he could solve it as president-elect.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously not going to happen, right?
Well, then why would you vote for him? If Donald Trump is making promises that you would say, by the way, your quote obviously would not happen, then why are you voting for him? And then
because of his claim,
why are you bashing Kamala Harris for her policies when you acknowledge that Donald Trump's plan for Ukraine is, quote, obviously not going to happen?
So that's not, his plan for Ukraine is that he would be able to talk to Putin and Zelensky and appear as sort of a neutral mediator between the two sides, something that Biden is not, because he believes that Biden, Harris, the United States, the Washington, the direction that they are going under the Biden administration is something that Putin is so utterly disgusted with that he would never sit down at a table with Biden being a mediator. And Trump's trying to appear as this sort of neutral between both sides. That's what Trump's trying to posit himself as, right?
That's fucking nothing. That's not a plan. I could be elected president and say, well, I'm going to be neutral. Me being neutral is not a plan to solve the war. Donald Trump has provided us nothing, and so far he's already failed on his campaign promise to solve it as president-elect, which you even acknowledge obviously is not going to happen. That's your words, right? You agree with me that it's obviously not going to happen.
I'm basing it more on his general philosophy that he'll be able to solve the war quickly within his only term as president.
His peace plan was rejected. It's already been rejected. Putin's already saying no. Sergei Lavrov, defense minister for Russia, said nuh-uh. Some of the key proposals, those being Ukraine's assent to NATO in 20 years.
It's not all of it. It's not all of it. It was the key proposals.
No.
That means, listen. This is critical. Trump is currently not the president.
No.
He's the president-elect. No. What you said is wrong.
No. That's what Sergei Lavrov said. That it's not. They do not accept it. They don't accept. They don't accept any of it.
Okay. Can we pull up the real quote? Can we pull up the actual quote?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Let's pull up the quote. pull up the quote.
Sure. Russia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sergei Lavrov, said that Moscow is not satisfied with elements of the president-elect's peace plan that were revealed in an interview with Time magazine. Other leaks, namely delaying Ukraine's ascent to NATO by 20 years and deploying a contingent of EU and UK peacekeepers to Ukraine.
Okay. So what you missed in that statement, he's not rejecting all of it. He's rejecting elements of it, which happens in any diplomatic talk.
He said he's not happy
the idea.
with it.
The idea that statement, or that the peace proposal cannot be rectified or edited or altered in any regard before Trump becomes president.
He's not happy with it.
Listen,
he didn't provide any.
That's great that he's
didn't
not
provide any counter. Didn't do anything like that.
That's what diplomacy looks like. Not everyone's going to be satisfied with the complete, full articles that are given for peace. However, what you have been able to see is Putin has said publicly that he's more receptive. Putin is more receptive towards making a peace deal with Trump. He's already said that in public appearances.
Oh yeah, it's really working out well so far. Quote, "We are not happy, of course, with the proposals made by members of the Trump team to postpone Ukraine's admission to NATO for 20 years and to station British and
so once again, it's elements of it.
Forces in Ukraine."
Once again, it's elements of it. So you're
those are some of the. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's just say hypothetically, you have a big plan, and some of the most important main policies of it are the real home runs, and you have these other minor things of like X, Y, and Z. Even if they agree to the minor things and they disagree to the major elements, that's still bad.
Of course, but you're also asserting that these points.
So if they're not agreeing with things like having UK and EU peacekeepers in Ukraine delaying the peacekeepers Ukraine's ascent to NATO for the next 20 years, that's a big fucking deal.
The secondary thing that you mentioned, the first is not, but the secondary thing is a big deal. However, what you do have to, at least, what you have to contend with here is that this idea that at least that there is some progression on peace talks. You do not see that under Biden Harris at all. But now, we have now the American president-elect reaching out, giving a peace proposal, and there are at least some elements that are not maybe fully satisfying the Russians, but at least there's some that can get people at a table. This is the point. This is the point.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were continuing. You just said that delaying the rejection of Ukraine's ascent to NATO is a big deal, right?
The time the 20 years, that would be a big deal. Yes, that is a home run.
So how about this? How about the fact that Lavrov said that Russia would, quote, refuse to accept Ukraine's NATO membership regardless of the territorial factors. They want no Ukraine membership. So if you think that delaying its membership by 20 years is a big deal, wait till you hear about no membership for Ukraine at all. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Trump's
peace plan that he's talked about is so far away from what Russia would allegedly accept in terms of a peace deal that it's not happening. We're not close.
We don't know that. Like these are points that you're just sort of you're stating.
This is what the Sergei Lavrov is saying.
Yes, Lavrov saying he's not satisfied with 20 years. He's not satisfied with any years. That's been the Russian position. We know this, right? However, there is going to have to be, at some level between Ukraine and Russia, some concessions that are made on a level for probably both sides. Ukraine probably has to concede more than Russia because they're in sort of a disadvantageous position on the battlefield currently. However, both sides are going to have to make concessions. So one possible concession that Ukraine would have to make is they may have to agree to never being a part of NATO. However, Russia would allow...
No.
That would be a possible concession.
No,
100% would be. I'm sorry. Okay, they may not, but this is what
we shouldn't.
This is what I'm saying.
Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
I'm not. Whoa. I'm not saying Ukraine should accept this. I'm just saying this is what the Russians would propose. The Russians would propose.
Okay. If this is what Russia's proposing, you are once again backing up my point in the sense that they are far away. Trump's peace plan is not happening. It's not going to be a thing.
I'm saying
the idea that this guy would somehow be better at solving this is nonsense.
The Russians are far away with the Ukrainians. However, I think that Trump and Washington, at least what future Washington is going to look like, is they're trying to position themselves in the middle and bringing both sides to sort of a medium middle ground. Now, I think that there is ways that the Trump team could try to reposition themselves on this idea of Ukraine into NATO, and maybe it's not 20, maybe it's more, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 30. The numbers really are not what matters here. What matters here is that there's actual progress being made, and that is something that we did not see under Biden. Yes. That we're not seeing under Biden.
No, the numbers matter. By the way, no progress has been made.
So yes,
Just to be clear, no progress has been made.
By the way,
we the United States,
direct contact.
We the United States,
direct contact between the United.
We have direct contact already.
We do not. When is the last time you've heard of Biden Harris, their team talking with the Russian team?
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
No,
we have
March
diplomats
2022. We can look it up.
This is no. The last time that Biden spoke. No, you're wrong. You're talking about what the last time Biden spoke to Putin was.
I'm talking about high level officials. There's been very high level of contact. There's not been any.
This is not true. This is not true.
You can look
the United States speaks with Russia. Really? Because wait. The terrorist attack that happened in Russia, the United States warned them ahead of time that we had intelligence that something was going to happen. So obviously we're speaking to them. This is
the level of conversation.
Hold on. This is absolutely insane. The level of conversation completely cut off communication with Russia. That's not true. We have diplomats. We have ambassadors. We have people that go to these UN meetings and they sit around in their circle and they talk. Right? They've been talking for quite some time. We've also been. Biden has been in the media saying, "Hey, Putin, end this war. This is what we're doing. We're going to continue to support Ukraine and whatnot." So the idea that this is insane, man. You're just completely the
level of diplomatic contact between the United States and Russia has greatly accelerated since Trump has been elected president. That's just a fact.
Really? How is it greatly accelerated? How is it greatly accelerated?
The Trump team has sent proposals out to Russia, and the Russians have responded.
Actually, they haven't. That's the funny thing.
You just sent a response, sir.
No, that's actually not true. If you would have listened, if you would have read up the story beforehand, they didn't send a proposal to Putin. This was a plan that Donald Trump told Time magazine in an interview. They never sent them a plan. Donald Trump has spoken to Putin apparently once. He's been kind of hazy or fuzzy about the details as to whether he spoke to Putin or not. He was asked, by the way, by a reporter if he spoke to Putin. He said it would be inappropriate for me to tell you. I don't know
why do you think he would say that? Why do you think he would say that? Let's just think. Why do you think
I have no idea.
I mean, I can give
you
you
honest
response.
with the people, right? He'd be honest with the people.
Sure. I mean, Biden, obviously Biden.
But Donald Trump has not sent a deal to them. So I'm curious, why do you think that our communication with Russia has accelerated?
Yeah, a few things.
Do you have any evidence of that?
Yeah, a few things. So to respond to your point that, that Biden, that you need to be truthful to your people. I mean, I'm sure Biden was very truthful with the Hunter Biden situation, but
yeah, I think he was.
No, he wasn't actually, but that's all right.
No, he was.
He wasn't, but that's all right. That's all right.
No, he was. I'm happy to explain.
I will not pardon Hunter. I will not pardon my son. But
yeah, wait. Just to be clear, are you under the impression that people can't change their position after something happens?
That's called being dishonest. That people, when you make a claim,
wait, hold on.
No.
It's dishonest to change your position if circumstances. Wait, hold on. It's dishonest to change your position if circumstances change.
It is dishonest to say I will not.
Is it really the position you want to take here?
It is dishonest for the United States president to say I will not, under any circumstances, pardon my son and then pardon your son. That's dishonest.
Wait. I'm asking you a simple question. Okay. Do you think it's dishonest for somebody's mind to change if circumstances change?
When someone makes a assertion that they will not, under any circumstances, do something and then do it.
Wait. That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking.
I am responding.
Okay, so wait. You think it's dishonest for somebody's opinion to change if circumstances change? Just to be clear.
I got your question for the third time, and I will respond to it.
I'm just asking for a yes or no here.
I will respond to the same way for the third time.
Okay, so you're not going to do a yes or no because you know how absurd the point is.
You're cutting me off. I
am cutting you off because if you're going to give me the same answer again, I don't need to hear it.
Well,
I'm asking for a simple yes or no here.
People can change their ideas on policy positions. However, when you make an assertion to the American public saying, I will not under any circumstances, that is a pretty bracketed statement. And listen, it 100% is. I will not under any circumstances. The under any circumstances is the important part here.
Yeah, wait, hold on. First of all, happy to talk about Donald Trump's lies as well if you think that this is a lie. But what happened is
both people
Joe Biden, he'll just be quiet. Joe Biden said, yeah, I'm not going to pardon Hunter, right? And then circumstances changed, such as Donald Trump getting elected and him appointing someone named Kash Patel to lead the FBI. And when Kash Patel said things like, yeah, we're going to go after Donald Trump's opponents, we're going to jail them on Steve Bannon's show, then yeah, that might lead Joe Biden to change his mind, given that circumstances changed. If Kamala Harris would have gotten elected, I have no doubt in my mind that Joe Biden would have not pardoned Hunter, even though I think it would have still been justified to do so. He would not have pardoned Hunter. But when you have somebody that's been appointed to the FBI who's saying, yeah, I'm going to go after my opponents. Yeah, absolutely. Joe Biden is saying wow. So the Republicans have come after my son for no reason for the past 4 years.
Is it
even
more
than that?
Is
no,
it
is. It absolutely no reason. Yes, absolutely no reason.
I mean, come on, no reason.
The Republicans have come after my son for the past 4 years for no reason.
No reason.
And now we have somebody named Kash Patel wanting to run the FBI. Yeah, I'm going to pardon my son.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So, I mean, talking about the merits of Biden's decision, whatever. But I will say that he did lie to the American public. He may have changed his idea, but he may have lied initially to the American public. Now, let's get back to what we're discussing.
If your mind, that's such nonsense. If your mind changes when circumstances change, that's not lying. That's an opinion changing, right? Like, I'm sure the opinion you set when you were younger, which has evolved to a different opinion now, doesn't mean that you lied when you were younger. You just learned more. Circumstances changed.
The statement was a year ago. By the way,
hold on. If I say that I am under no I'm going out to play soccer tomorrow, no matter what. I'm going outside to play soccer tomorrow, and I'm doing that. I'm going to go play soccer. And then it's the case that there's a huge rainstorm, a hurricane, winds, 90-mile-per-hour winds. It's really disgusting outside. And I say, wow, I'm actually not going to go play soccer because circumstances change. You would say that previous me yesterday was lying. I would say that's such a stupid position to take, that circumstances can change people's opinions all the time. And to say that they're dishonest for having their opinions to change is exactly what's wrong with partisanship in this country, to the point where, like, oh yeah, if you change your position, if you learn more information and circumstances change and you change your mind, you're a liar, you're a fraud, you have to be kicked out of the party.
Okay.
Total nonsense. Total nonsense.
So let's hold that standard with both candidates, and fine. Now let's talk about what was the question that you asked before the Hunter Biden point was brought up.
I don't recall what question you're referencing specifically.
Well, you asked it, so I don't know. But
I mean, so, do you know, or are you just genuinely asking?
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know either. So I guess just making another point about sort of the Ukraine-Russia affair. I think the point, right, the crux of this point is Kamala Harris as a candidate would have presumptively continued the status quo established by Biden when dealing with Ukraine-Russia, which is what you said, giving more weaponry, defensive weaponry, giving more ammunitions, aid packages, etc. Fine. That does very little to address the problem at hand, because while, continuing to supply the defense of Ukraine is fine, that is simply just causing more and more stalemates to occur on the battlefield. The goal is bringing both these parties together at the discussion table to have them talk it out and hopefully come up with a peace proposition that is fair for both parties, right? That is the goal. I think Trump as a candidate gives that sort of second scenario a more likely chance of happening rather than just continuing the status quo.
Based on what?
Based on the idea.
What makes you believe that?
Okay, we'll break it down. So
give me an example in Trump's first term that makes you think that.
Yes or no? Harris would have continued the same thing established by Biden.
Wait.
No.
We've already established that Kamala Harris. Wait. Just answer the question just simply. Like, why do you believe what you believe? You're making an argument that you believe that Donald Trump would be better in establishing peace in Ukraine and that he's going to be the change. Why?
Yes, because he's the change from the status quo, and said that he will not.
Really? Yes. But why do you think that? Like, why do you think that Donald Trump's going to be better? You keep saying he's a change from the status quo. What does that mean? What evidence do you have to support that?
Will Trump fund Ukraine at the same level that Biden and Harris did?
Wait, that's what's going to drive peace?
No, you're talking about status quo changes here, and I'm giving you a status quo change. Will Trump at the same level Biden Harris?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there were some. I forget the guy's name, but somebody that Donald Trump was appointing.
The answer's no.
Well, that's actually not true. It was.
You're the one that just asserted that. So,
wait, hold on. Seb Gorka said on, I believe it was Steve Bannon's show, who, by the way, Donald Trump has appointed to his administration. He's going to serve in the next Trump administration. Has said that if Russia doesn't play ball and they're not interested in peace, we should fund Ukraine even more. That's somebody that's joining Trump's administration. So
that would be a change of status quo.
I think it's.
He just said more.
Wait,
that's a change of status quo.
Okay, so if Donald Trump increases funding by $1, is that a change to the status quo? You're just saying that Donald Trump's going to go, he's going to fund Ukraine more or less. That means peace is going to happen. Why do you think? I'm asking you a very specific question here. Why do you think Donald Trump would be better for peace, or just better with dealing with this conflict overall? Because Trump has an interesting position, an interesting relationship with Russia, which is not similar to the level of Biden's, and that could be a good or bad thing. This idea is that Putin wants to sit down at a table more with Trump than Biden. He stated that publicly. Wait, you believe Putin? First of all, it's just funny. If Putin says something, you're like, it must be true.
We're talking. Yeah, I mean, sure. We're talking about diplomacy here. The point is, Trump is a more pleasing person to the table for Russia. Listen, Harry, listen.
He also said he wasn't going to invade Ukraine. So I don't you believe Putin all of a sudden? You believe Putin? That's a crazy position to take, don't you think? That Putin says he's more amenable to negotiating with Donald Trump, and you automatically believe him. That's a crazy position to take.
This is a straw man argument that you're making. That's great.
No, it's not. It's pointing out that you're believing a serial liar and an adversary.
What I'm saying is Putin, strategically, would rather sit down at a peace.
Okay, how do you know that?
Talk table, because Trump is less supportive of Ukraine than Biden is.
Wait, that doesn't answer the question. How is Putin? How do you know that Putin is actually more? How do you know that Putin is actually more interested in negotiating peace with Donald Trump than he is with anybody else?
I mean, think about it diplomatically. You know, if Putin believes that Trump does not want to support Ukraine, that could possibly force the Ukrainians into realizing we may not receive the same level of aid that we did under Harris.
Yeah, so why would Putin strike peace with them?
We would be more, in the Ukrainian perspective, thus Ukrainians would be more receptive to actually sitting down at a discussion table, because now they're worried we may lose more of our territory, forcing the Ukrainians to the discussion
and then why
table.
Would Russia? You're completely misunderstanding this. If the United States position with yes, you are 100%. Because just think about this logically, what you're just arguing here. If the position of the United States is that we're going to fund Ukraine less, giving Ukraine less of a position in this war, why would Russia now decide to sit down at a table with Ukraine as opposed to them now having the upper hand and continuing their invasion? Like, you're not thinking this through. You're just saying things in order. You're not thinking this through at all. You're just saying things in order to like defend Donald Trump's position on this, which is insane. Like, your entire position is predicated on Donald Trump's going to be different, and I believe that it's going to be different because Putin says he wants to negotiate with Donald Trump. It's nonsense.
Harry,
it's nonsense.
Harry, it makes sense.
If you're an American, I think there's a common rule of thumb in national security that if you're an American, you don't believe Putin, and you're failing at rule number one when it comes to dealing with Russia right now. You're failing at rule number one. And you think that if Russia feels that they have an upper hand, that they're just going to suddenly want peace. Oh my God! I mean,
Harry, you have to think strategically here. You have to think strategically here. Russia has been unable to take any part of the Kyiv Oblast, right? The heart of Ukraine. They've been able to take Eastern Ukraine, but they've not been able to get into Kyiv yet. So this idea that, what you said, sort of, okay, United States is going to give less funding under Trump, so Putin would just push the war more and more and more and eventually conquer all of Ukraine. Putin sees that it's probably unlikely that he's able to push past Eastern Ukraine. He could probably conquer most of the Eastern Ukrainian Oblast, but I don't think he would believe that he'd be able to fully capture Kyiv. And that was his original goal, right? Kyiv in 3 days. So I think that therefore he'd be like, okay, by capturing more of Eastern Ukraine under Trump, I would be able to push the Ukrainians towards the negotiation table, and maybe we could get some sort of peace agreement that includes Ukraine not being in NATO, right? That's obviously the Russians' goal, to have, to fully put an end to any Ukrainian NATO membership. It is crazy, I agree, but that's the Russians' goal.
What you're arguing right now is crazy.
I mean, but it makes strategically it makes sense. Like, what is the fallacy?
It strategically does not make sense because of the argument I just provided to you before. That if Russia smells blood,
what is the fallacy?
Smells blood. I'm trying to tell you if you'd stop talking.
Okay.
If Russia smells blood, if they have an inkling that the United States and other Western countries are not going to support Ukraine in the same way, they will strike. They are not going to sit there and say, you know what, actually, now that Ukraine is less strong, they have less defensive munitions, they have less ammo overall in order to fight our troops on the front lines. Now we feel as if peace is on the table. Then you have a fundamental misunderstanding of Vladimir Putin and Russia's goal here. It's like almost buying into Russian propaganda that they're actually interested in peace. This is, and again, you're predicating your view off of like, I believe Putin and I believe that Russia are good faith arbiters here and they're actually interested in striking a peace deal. They are not. They are not. They have rejected every single peace proposal from all these different countries that have put forward a deal. So if you think that suddenly they're going to stop because Ukraine gets less support, then brother, move to Moscow. You'll be one of their useful idiots, man. I mean, seriously, this is insane.
Well, I'm most certainly not pro-Russia, but I think that
you're arguing in a very pro-Russia way. You're arguing in favor of believing Putin.
No, I'm arguing in a way that pushes for peace and ending a.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. If you're arguing in favor of Donald Trump, you're not arguing in favor of peace.
So the Kamala Harris argument and the argument that you're proposing is if you keep funding Ukraine, something's going to happen eventually, right? So my question is, what's the end goal, right? So say Harris was elected, we keep funding Ukraine with defense and munitions and all this. What is the end goal? Like the end goal is obviously peace. How do we get this peace?
I already answered this question earlier.
But you responded it through funding more and more and more. But I'm saying after that funding period occurs, what happens? Are we funding?
We continue to fund Ukraine more. Here's the thing.
So we fund to the
wait. I'm sorry. Like in World War II, for example, before the United States got involved and we were supplying Britain with food and weapons and things like that, would you have been of the position of like, well, what's the end goal here? Like, are they ever going to make a deal with the Germany? I won't say the name because of TikTok. Germany with World War II. What's the end goal here? We have to like set a deadline here. It's like, no, they're trying to take over all of Europe. We see this. We know this as the United States. We're going to fund them until they fucking beat these people back. That should be the same position with Ukraine here, that Russia is posing an existential threat to the security of Europe and the security of the entire world. We don't set an end date or an end goal. We say we will adjust as the war evolves and as things change in the war, but we will not abandon our friends, our allies, and people that we would deal with. Whatever it takes, we support them. That's the position.
I don't think perpetual funding is really the solution in that affair.
So you would have been in favor of cutting Great Britain off in World War II? Or?
I'm talking about Ukraine, Russia here.
I'm just giving you another historical example. Would you?
Well, you give a historical example that's a little different because obviously the UK is one of our greatest allies. Ukraine was not.
Also had a deal with. We have a deal with Ukraine to provide them defense.
Yes, we have a deal to provide them with defense, but when you talk about the hierarchy of allyships, Ukraine has not always been up there.
Ukraine is a very significant ally for the United States, geopolitically, trade-wise, security-wise.
They only became this great ally in post Crimea. Right, but I'm talking about like you're talking about an interesting example of obviously
this deal that we have with them. By the way, goes back to the 1990s. So I don't know why you're saying
the Budapest Memorandum also. What else does the Budapest Memorandum apply to? It doesn't apply to just Ukraine. It doesn't. But no.
It also applied. It also applied to Russia, which by the way,
exactly. So
yeah, they violated it. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
my point is right. Eastern European countries have never been the top of the U.S. allyship. So when talking about the World War II example, it's a little different because of the level of allyship between the U.S. and the U.K. and obviously U.S. Ukraine. So I think
I'm not even talking about level of allyship. I'm talking about like
you're talking about what we would have done under World War II and how.
I'm talking about global security.
Yes,
Russia right now is posing the greatest threat to global security. There is no other conflict that's happening in the world right now, I would argue, that poses a bigger threat to global security than Russia, given the fact that Poland is right there. They have NATO countries like Lithuania that border them.
Maybe Israel Palestine is maybe a bit of a maybe a slightly stronger one.
I don't think in terms of global security, bringing the world into a broader war, I don't think that Israel Palestine reaches to that level, given that NATO is not surrounding those areas. Yeah. And Israel isn't floated with invading a NATO country, whereas Putin very much wants to reunite the Soviet Union. So this is the greatest threat to global security, in my view, right now.
Okay. I don't think Putin's goal is to invade a NATO country. I really don't think that's his goal.
Really? Because we, the United States, have intelligence that Putin actually wants to test the limits of NATO. They want to bomb a abandoned city on the border of a NATO country and see what the world would do. And they want to test it. So we have to stand firm.
True. Very true. He does want to test the limits of NATO. He will not go into NATO and attack a country.
I don't want to take that risk.
His goal, right? His goal, he said this in the start. He said it in a letter.
Again, you're believing Putin. Holy fuck. Why do you keep saying his goal? He said this. He said it in a letter. Why do you keep believing Putin? Why don't you believe United States intelligence that we have?
So the United States intelligence that you're citing, I'm not familiar with. However, if we go on the basis that that's accurate, I'm sure you have sources. They are right. Putin wants to test the limits of NATO, which he's doing directly through Ukraine. And directly through democratic backsliding that we see in the Georgian parliamentary elections in Georgia. This is all true. However, the U.S. intelligence has not yet suggested that Putin wants to attack a NATO country. He does want to push the limits of NATO, which is he's doing through attacking Ukraine, because he wants to create a buffer. He wants to create this sort of Russian anti-NATO empire, which is true. But I think, one of the definitive points why I did not vote for Harris was that I feel like her idea of perpetual funding, which is what you're suggesting, is something that is unreasonable, is non-actionable, and is something that will not ensure peace, right? Because peace actually ends this global security threat. Because if we keep Ukraine sort of as a buffer state that's not under Russian rule or not under NATO rule, it actually will do a lot in tempering Putin's sort of territorial expansion. It is that is what foreign policy.
If Ukraine NATO membership has to be part of this, because if we just make an agreement with Russia
that's
right
unfeasible.
now,
that's unfeasible.
Well, too bad, too fucking bad. So we keep supporting Ukraine until it happens. Right? Because here's the problem. We'll just keep doing this like every 6 to 10 years, where we make an agreement with Russia, say, okay, Russia, you're not going to do this anymore. You won't invade. Like, let's just say Donald Trump comes to an agreement with Russia that says, okay, no NATO membership, but you stay out of it. Then what Russia's going to do is says, okay, you know what? We won't invade. Then they're going to build up for like the next 6 to 10 years, invest more in their military. And then they're going to invade again. They invaded Georgia in 2008. They invaded Crimea in 2014. Now in 2022, they invaded the broader Ukraine. There's no indication that Russia's going to say, fine, all right, you got us this time. Now we're going to stop. No, Ukraine has to be part of NATO. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of every 6 to 10 years, we, the United States, then have to support Ukraine or another country because Russia doesn't listen to an agreement. I have no problem with supporting these countries. I'm sick of Russia pushing the limit. Get Ukraine in NATO. That's what it has to be. And if Donald Trump does anything less, it's a failure.
So if Trump makes peace with Russia and Ukraine, and on the peace treaty it says, for example, Ukraine cannot apply for NATO membership in 50 years. They have to wait 50 years. Is that a failure?
Failure.
Okay. If Ukraine cannot apply to be a NATO member in 20 years, is that a failure?
Yeah.
So
Ukraine, we need Ukraine membership ASAP.
So everything is a failure unless Ukraine is guaranteed NATO membership the second the...
Yeah, look, if Ukraine membership is at least not part of this within the near future, not 20 years, within the near future, then it's a failure. Now, hypothetically, if the deal is structured in a way that, for example, we have the EU, UK peacekeepers in Ukraine, for example, and that can somehow provide the peace for the next 20 years, then that's happy to look at it. But if I'm just looking at the deal and it doesn't include swift NATO membership for Ukraine, then I would deem it as a failure, unless there's some remedy for that.
So are there concessions that Ukraine would make in order to ensure NATO membership that would be a failure on the American side? So
I don't know.
So
in
this
terms
is what we're
of
talking about, right?
For Ukraine,
this idea, let's talk about
whatever. You know, they can handle the concessions, and we'll see what they come down to specifically if they concede anything to get NATO membership. But just from an American perspective, I'm only speaking from an American's perspective. I'm not speaking from Ukrainian's perspective. From an American's perspective, without NATO for Ukraine, failure.
So if Ukraine loses,
you disagree?
I disagree that if there's something that says maybe 20 years, 50 years, that's a failure. I think as long as there's still a possibility of Ukraine joining NATO in the future, I think that would be a success. And that would be obviously hinging on how much territory Ukraine would lose. If Ukraine would lose 25% of their territory, I think it would be a failure. If Ukraine is able to retain most of their territory and put a 50-year lease on how long they would have to wait, I think that would be considered a success. So I think
50 years. Okay, what stops then? Then there would have to be something in the deal that prevents Russia from invading in the next 6 to 10. Right? What would be that remedy?
That remedy would probably be the allowance of US and UK peacekeepers, like you said. That would be definitely a reasonable thing. And you said that Lavrov rejected it. But however, we have to also think here that there's probably little territorial concessions that were discussed in the deal. So maybe Ukraine would have to throw in they'd have to lose some of their Western territory, and then they'd be able to gain this right for peacekeepers and maybe have 50 years instead of never. But I think that solution that you're talking about, a peace treaty, is way more feasible and likely to happen under Trump than it is Harris.
There's literally no evidence of that, but fine. Like we can look at Donald Trump's first term and see that he was terrible in foreign policy, but and you can still be delusional and say that Trump was good, but whatever.
So I think it's also wrong to say that Biden was not terrible on foreign policy.
He was not terrible on foreign policy.
And that's where I think you're incorrect. When you look at the wars that were started, when you look at the wars that were started under Trump, compare that to Biden.
How is that Biden's fault?
Well, so we can start. We can start with the the pull out of Afghanistan, yes, it was sort of planned for by Trump, but the execution all all fell under Biden. I think that that's a significant sort of detractor. I think if we look at obviously the Ukraine-Russia war breaking out, you could have thought maybe Trump would have been able to maybe pacify that. If you look at Israel-Palestine, there's a good example there. So I think
I don't know how any of this has anything to do with Joe Biden.
Well, the fact is this all occurred under Biden.
So
and this occurred in part through Biden's.
Do you blame FDR for World War II?
No, I don't.
Do you blame Woodrow Wilson for World War I?
No, because the U.S. was nowhere near its global hegemonic state that it is.
In World War II, the United States was absolutely the most powerful country in the world.
That's
World War I, arguably, you could say, we weren't
so that's so once the U.S. industry started in World War II, once they were attacked, then yes. However, beforehand, no.
Way before. After World War I, we started. No, this is just come on, man. This is basic U.S. history. After World War I, we started investing far more in our military, and we became the #1 military in the world. That's why, like Germany and Japan. Hold on. That's why Germany and Japan in World War II and Italy were so hesitant on doing anything against the United States. That's why when we were sending ships to Great Britain full of supplies, they knew that we were sending ships, but German U-boats would not take out American ships because they knew that it would bring the United States in. So we were absolutely the most powerful country in the world. But that's aside, we won't go over World War II history. Point is, you wouldn't blame Woodrow Wilson, you wouldn't blame FDR for these wars, but for some reason you blame Joe Biden because Hamas decided to attack Israel and then Israel's subsequent response, and then you would blame Joe Biden because Russia made a terrible decision to invade Ukraine. That's nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, true. FDR may have some blame along with Chamberlain because I think they sort of maybe did not see the full potential of I won't name him for the TikTok live, but I mean maybe, but for the most part you are right. But I do think in this 21st century the U.S. is clearly the hegemonic state and have been. They have the global order, right? And the inability for Biden to be able to pacify the Israel-Palestine conflict, his inability to properly be able to pull troops out of Afghanistan. I mean, this is embarrassing stuff for the U.S.
Oh my God, this is such a
embarrassing
analysis.
Was Afghanistan embarrassing?
No, I wouldn't call it embarrassing.
You wouldn't call that. Whoa! You wouldn't call that embarrassing?
No, I wouldn't call it embarrassing. No,
you wouldn't call that embarrassing.
No, I wouldn't call it embarrassing. What I would say, by the way, in response to your point on Afghanistan, as you mentioned correctly, the withdrawal was initiated by Donald Trump, number one,
and executed by Biden. Executed by Biden. Obviously, the execution.
But Joe Biden had to execute Donald Trump's plan. Joe Biden, when he was speaking about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, said that his generals came to him. He said, "We have two options here. Either one, you deploy tens of thousands of more troops to Afghanistan to defend us when the ceasefire with the Taliban expires, so we can actually defend ourselves, because at that time we only had 2,500 troops in Afghanistan as a result of Donald Trump's withdrawal plan." Or we can go through with the plan, even though it's not great, and get all of our troops out there with the limited time frame that we have, and try to push the date back, which we inevitably end up doing. Joe Biden was like, "Yeah, I'm not putting more American troops in Afghanistan. We're going to go through with the withdrawal." And just to add on to this, the Inspector General of the United States did an entire report on our time in Afghanistan from start to finish, including the withdrawal. And they even blamed partially Donald Trump's agreement, the Doha Accords, for the messy withdrawal. And H.R. McMaster, Donald Trump's former national security advisor, served in his administration, said that, yeah, both Donald Trump and he also said Joe Biden have responsibility for this messy withdrawal. I would say that Joe Biden has limited responsibility because he was simply executing Donald Trump's plan. And if he's left with a bad plan, I don't know why we would blame him. But these are people that serve with Donald Trump. This is the Inspector General of the United States, who's not political, blaming Donald Trump's plan. So I don't know how on earth you could be like, yeah, well, Joe Biden executed it, so he owes responsibility. You're just moving the responsibility away from Donald Trump.
So a lot of responsibility lies in Biden. I think, talking about the plan in Afghanistan, it was maybe flawed. It was probably flawed, but I think both parties are to blame. I think Biden probably is more so to blame due to poor execution. However, I think that also when we look at Israel-Palestine, is Biden at all at fault for that? I mean, Harry,
for the war starting? No, he's not responsible for that. So
in the lead up to the war, is Biden at all responsible for the tense relationship that occurred in Gaza?
Joe Biden has no responsibility for the war.
Zero responsibility.
Zero responsibility for the war. Right. Yeah.
Nothing he could have done to stop the war.
Yeah.
Nothing. But I don't think
within
that's
reason, of course. I mean, he could become Superman, but that's not obviously.
But I think we're talking about before the war. I think that there is certain diplomatic things that he could have done.
Really, like what?
I think I think that he could have talked with all parties involved and came together and sort of given some.
Wait, what? We could have had a all parties involved conversation with Hamas, Israel, and the United States when we didn't know that the attack was happening?
So, counterpoint that I find interesting here. Do you believe that Kamala Harris's support for Israel and not Palestine was something that was widely supported in the
I
Democratic
think it was
Party?
widely supported among the United States.
So we're talking electoral.
Wait, can you just can you answer that question though?
I
Really
can't
quickly?
answer
Because
your
you're
question.
like,
Will you answer my follow-up?
yeah, I'm happy to answer your follow up, but like you're saying that like Joe Biden should have sat down with Israel, Hamas,
Joe Biden
and the United
failed
States and negotiated a peace deal.
Joe
Like,
Biden
what?
failed diplomatically to address the issues.
Wait. We didn't know that an attack was happening.
We knew the issues that had occurred in Gaza.
Of course, we knew that issues were occurring in Gaza. We didn't know that this attack that kicked everything off was going to take place. So you're like, how on earth could you be like, yeah, Joe Biden should have had a crystal ball in which he could see the future and then come together and sit down with
I'm not
them
claiming he
based
should have had a crystal ball. I'm claiming
well,
he
that's
should
what
have.
you're arguing. You're like, why didn't Joe Biden
no.
sit down with them? We didn't know the attack was happening.
I'm claiming he should have had the diplomatic prowess to address this before it occurred.
Wait,
He simply did not have
the
diplomatic
problems that have been going on for like 80 years in this relationship. Joe Biden should have had the diplomatic prowess to be like, yeah, there might be an attack, so let's sit down and negotiate.
He should have had the foresight to see that
All right, now you
the
see,
undercurrents that we're pitting.
This is
sorry,
absolute
Harry.
nonsense.
Harry.
This is absolutely nonsense.
Harry.
This is why my friend Chris and I joke about how people want Joe Biden to be Superman. They want it to be like
Chris,
God.
like the Chris on TikTok, Chris Mowry.
Yeah, Chris on TikTok.
yeah.
We joke about how people want Joe Biden to be God to the point where
okay. Yeah.
Joe Biden should be able to like have the foresight to see that, this could happen. So let's sit down together and negotiate something out. Like historically, by the way, negotiating with these two sides on anything is almost impossible. So that's just like a crazy position to take. Why didn't Donald Trump sit down and negotiate with them? Because Hamas started training for their attack when Donald Trump was still in office. Why didn't he have the diplomatic prowess?
Because he wasn't president for the year and a half that you saw the undercurrents brewing. Now, I think,
but he was president when they started training, and he was also president during this time of great conflict. So why didn't he sit down and negotiate with them? Because this conflict's been going on for a very long time now.
Sure. Historically, it's been going on for a very long time, but you didn't see the sort of combativeness that we see today once the war broke out. And that occurred in a year and a half when Biden was president. And I think that he certainly owns some guilt for that.
This is such insanity. So wait, does Donald Trump have responsibility for the skirmish that took place on the Israel-Gaza border in 2019, where a bunch of IDF soldiers opened fire on a bunch of people in Gaza? Does Donald Trump owe responsibility for that? Or?
He doesn't have responsibility for that because that's done by Israel.
Why didn't he have the diplomatic prowess to negotiate so something like that didn't happen?
Because if you look...
Do you see how insane this sounds?
So you're talking about IDF soldiers, right? Who gave those orders?
Wait, how does that have anything to do with having the diplomatic prowess to do it? Whether
when
IDF
there's a
soldiers
war,
were given the orders or not?
When there's a war between two sides that occurred, right? The decisions are being made by the leaders. The decisions for the IDF troops to attack Palestinians was not made from the top, right? So it's tough to say that that's Trump's fault. Sure, he probably has some blame there. But
Donald Trump has no blame for that.
He probably does have some blame for that.
Why would he have any blame for that?
Because as Americans,
the United States president isn't president of the world. So if there's like a skirmish between,
but they're the closest thing to it. But yeah, sure, they're not.
They're not. There's no like closest thing to it. They're just not
the closest
it. It's not a thing.
Yes,
it's not a thing. There's no close to it. It's not a thing.
Pretty much are.
So if something happens in a foreign country that is, a war or a conflict or a skirmish of some kind, whatever level it might be, the United States president can't just be like, oh, well, now we have to do something about it. Or the United States president can't be like, yeah, we have to sit down with both parties and negotiate something out. This is like insane.
Once again, I mean, you're also comparing a skirmish to a war, which is probably two very different things.
100%. But I'm not. It's not necessarily comparing the skirmish to the war. It's comparing whether somebody has responsibility for something.
Okay. So regarding my follow-up, right? Do you think that Harris's full-blown support for Israel hurt her in the Democratic Party among voters?
Yeah, I think it hurt her with some voters, for sure.
Do you think she should have made a more neutral position on the matter?
Do I think she should have made a more neutral position on the matter? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, like in terms of like what I wanted her to say versus what she did say are two different things. So if we're talking about electability, I have no idea.
Okay. Personally, do you agree with what she said?
Well, what are you saying? What are you citing specifically? Because when she said that there needs to be like, when she said there needs to be like a ceasefire, I agree with that.
Okay, her full blown support of Israel. And
well, I don't think she was as supportive as other politicians. She was talking about a ceasefire when a lot of people weren't.
Maybe, but she has stated that, Israel is our ally, and that is full blown support. Like, do you agree with that position?
Do I agree that Israel's an ally of the United States? Israel has historically been an ally, but I also think we have to hold our allies accountable. So she can say like, yeah, like this country's an ally, but as she also said, like we have to hold them accountable as well.
Okay, which is maybe a neutral position. So yes. Because yes, you're falling on both sides.
No, that is absolutely not a neutral position on the matter.
It is quite a neutral position on the matter because you're agreeing with both sides simultaneously.
No. A neutral position would be like, yeah, I have no position. If she's saying that, yeah, there needs to be a ceasefire, there needs to be an end to this conflict, and Israel needs to stop like indiscriminately bombing, then that is obviously not a neutral position. But if she's saying like, yeah, they're an ally of ours, but we need to hold them accountable, that's a totally different thing.
Okay, so still personally, right? Are you personally a supporter of Israel in the conflict, or are you more of a neutral take? That's what I'm getting at.
My position here has always been I want a two-state solution.
Okay, so you're not a supporter of Israel.
Well, I think that's a supporter of peace, right? I want a two-state solution where both people have a right to self-determination, prosperity, and both Israelis and Palestinians can live free of conflict. Okay. And that's by the way, Joe Biden has been pushing for this. The State Department's been pushing for this. They have a post-war plan that rebuilds Gaza that includes the UN and in funding this and getting it done. But my position is two-state solution. Palestine gets a state. Israel gets a state. They both live happily. And ideally.
Would there be a worry that Palestine would be governed by Hamas?
Well, I think part of the goal would be like they are no longer governed by Hamas, and that there would be new elections that are sanctioned by the UN.
They would UN humanitarian, sort of things that would be led by the U.S. So the U.S. would be the state builder.
I wouldn't simply just be the U.S. being the state builder, but ideally, the UN would sanction elections here.
But when you talk about the UN, I mean, the U.S. would be a foundational member in rebuilding.
Sure, okay.
Palestine.
I mean, yeah, they're a foundational
what you're arguing is obviously this neoliberal perspective that the United States should be, in other words, the world's police in arbitrating matters between sort of state building between two countries. That's kind of what you're arguing.
Not for every conflict ever, but this is obviously something that the United States has had a huge involvement in. So if having the United States involved and gets it over the line in terms of like a deal where the hostages are released and the conflict ends, that's great. Done. No problem. Whatever it takes to get peace. That's what I'm at. Whatever it takes to get peace.
Okay, so that's the perspective in all foreign policy, or just sort of the Israel-Palestine policy?
No, I think that this policy, or this in particular, is a urgent need of peace, just because of like obviously a huge humanitarian crisis that's taking place in Gaza, and then there's hostages still being held. They all need to be released.
I think that perspective, while it may work in Israel-Palestine, I don't think that same perspective could work in Ukraine-Russia.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I'm only applying it to this.
Sure, but I feel like having that foreign policy perspective of neoliberalism and applying that to Ukraine-Russia is what's causing these sort of holdups in understanding why a Trump presidency would be more influential for garnering peace between both sides.
No, we recognize that conflicts are different. So what's happening in the Middle East is completely different than what's happening in Eastern Europe, and thus they require different solutions. So what I'm advocating for in the Middle East with a two-state solution is a peace deal, return of the hostages, obviously has no application to Russia and Ukraine. It's an entirely different thing.
So you still hold those values that you have under neoliberalism to this conflict.
Which values being what?
Values being that U.S. intervention is necessary, U.S. state building should be applicable for both sides, U.S. should be the formative mediator between both sides.
I'm not necessarily I don't like the word should. Like if the United States involvement makes it better and we have like a clear path forward and the UN and both sides agree that, yeah, they want the United States involved, then I'm there. But if the UN and Israel and Palestine are like, yeah, actually, we don't want the United States to be involved, we don't think it'd be productive, then I'd say, hey, keep the United States out of it. It just depends on what makes the situation better.
Okay. Now, talking about Kamala Harris specifically in Israel-Palestine, what has she proposed, or what did she propose to.
I mean, she was running on a two-state solution and a ceasefire, along with the state-building plan that the State Department was working on at the time, the three-phase state.
So this two-party solution, do you think that this would ever be agreed upon by Israel?
I have no idea. I mean, it depends on the circumstances.
It hasn't been. It's been rejected. I mean, you can.
Yeah, I mean, they've rejected it.
It's been rejected. So I feel like
I think war is fluid.
Sure, war is fluid. But Israel, obviously the more powerful of the two sides, the ally of the U.S., the more powerful nation, I don't think would want to concede to a two-state solution so easily. So I feel like almost that solution proposed by Kamala Harris is.
I don't think that's actually true. There have been.
I think.
There have been plenty of. No, there have been plenty of Israeli politicians. Especially in the opposing party. The
opposing party.
In the opposing party, which, by the way, polls in Israel right now are showing that are quite popular, that are saying, yeah, we want a two-state solution. It's just Netanyahu. Netanyahu sucks. This guy is garbage, right? Yeah, he's garbage. So he himself has rejected two-state solutions. Yeah, obviously. He himself has rejected solutions before. It doesn't mean that like everybody in Israel is against a two-state solution. That's what should be done, and that's what we should be advocated for. And just because Netanyahu, the current lunatic that's in there, is saying, yeah, I'm not really in favor of a two-state solution, doesn't mean that the United States still shouldn't be pushing for a Palestinian state and an Israeli state where, people are respected, they have the ability to live freely.
So I think that solution proposed by Harris, I think, is impractical. I also think that it's just something that is not helping to. Okay, so
Donald Trump's solution of just like get it done to Netanyahu is good? Yeah?
Well, yes, funding Israel, supporting our ally. This is the same thing that's happening in Ukraine, Russia. But now you feel like now it should be different. So I think it's interesting here because I think the same perspective that you added in Ukraine, Russia of us defending Ukraine perpetually until whatever happens is the same perspective taken by Trump on Israel, Palestine. But now you find an issue with it, which I think is kind of hypocritical.
So it would be hypocritical. First of all, they're not even the same conflict, but it would only be hypocritical if war was universal. But war is not universal. Wars are different with different dynamics and different power structures, right? So what's happening in Eastern Europe is objectively not the same thing that's happening in the Middle East. So as I was just talking about like 5 seconds ago, both of those things require different solutions. So right now, having a policy of the United States just funding Israel, no matter what, given that this war is different, given that there are different power dynamics here, is not good policy. That's just not good policy. What we should be pushing forward here is a ceasefire on the side of Israel, saying like, hey, you're kind of indiscriminately bombing. It doesn't make much sense. And a return of the hostages from the H group.
So I think this idea that Israel is indiscriminately bombing Palestine, I think I don't know if that's 100% true. I don't think that's true because, let's be real. Hamas has attacked Israel and Israelis, and Israel has a right to respond to that. But I think that what you're missing here is while the scope possibly of Israel-Palestine is smaller than that of Ukraine-Russia, the parties are very similar, right? Ukraine is an ally of the U.S., Israel is an ally of the U.S., Russia is sort of this invader state that is not an ally of the U.S., and Hamas is a terrorist organization that is similarly not an ally of the U.S. So I feel like the parties here are very similar, yet your approach is different, and Kamala Harris's approach is different, which are both incorrect.
God. This is such a crazy, trying to liken these two wars and saying that
I'm not. No. Sorry. No. I'm not liking the two wars. The scopes are different. The parties are absolutely the same.
Different wars, different conflicts require different solutions. Now, I would happily bring up the different examples of schools or hospitals in Gaza being taken out by Israel, or the number of times that Israel has had to apologize for a strike that they took that killed a number of civilians, or even those chefs I believe from the group, I'm forgetting their name. There's a number of examples like that. That to me seems pretty bad. And so my position in its whole is not say, hey, we have to cut off Israel as a whole and say fuck you and never work with them again, because that would only push them, in my view, toward people like Russia and China. But rather say, hey, let's push for peace for both sides. Let's have a two-state solution, as opposed to just saying, you know what, let's just fund Israel no matter what.
I think, but it's the same thing that you're saying with Ukraine. It's supporting your ally, right? It's talking about sort of the breakdown of the Middle East. So your proposal of this two-state solution hinges on the fact that a future Palestine would be one that is democratic, conforms with sort of Western values. But in turn, that could not be true, and therefore you'd have another section of the Middle East sort of fall under this sort of anti-Western value system that is dangerous for the U.S.
Wait, say that last part again. Sorry, I wasn't fully listening.
So if Palestine would not conform to sort of this sort of idealistic sort of UN pro-democracy, pro-Western values nation and would fall to a terrorist organization and be governed similarly to other sort of Middle Eastern countries, it would not fall under the U.S. sphere of influence, which would be negative for the U.S. And therefore, when you sort of have Israel acting as a natural pacifier for that region, the U.S. would lose a lot of influence in the Middle East, and also
I'm not saying cut them off as an ally. I'm not arguing.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying by suggesting a two-state solution, you automatically could cut Israel further off from the Middle East, and not only that, you could also cut further U.S. influence.
Wait, how is that further cutting them off? What?
Because Israel's acting as a natural pacifier state by acknowledging this two-party state. You therefore give Hamas, who, if things would break down, which probably they would, although I'm not going to make any assumptions, if they would break down in Palestine, you would now see Hamas in a two-party state that is acknowledged, in a two-country state that is now acknowledged. You would now have Hamas as an influence in that region, even more of a greater influence than it is now.
Yeah, that's total nonsense. I mean,
it's not. If you acknowledge existence,
that's 100%. So just define pacifier nation to me. And what's the context you're using pacifier nation in?
Israel naturally has weakened the Middle Eastern support of Hamas by acting as a constant sort of direct threat towards Hamas and being able to sort of lessen their overall impact.
Wait, Middle Eastern countries, like Arab mainly countries, already didn't support the H group before.
When you look at countries like Afghanistan under the Taliban, they fully support Hamas. So
I'm not talking about the Taliban. I'm talking about like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking Middle Eastern. I'm not talking about Arabian. That was not the point made. I'm talking about Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is in the Middle East.
Exactly. I'm talking about. I mean, you're bringing up bringing up parts of the Maghreb, and you're bringing up the Arab world. I'm talking about sort of Afghanistan. I'm talking about.
But we're talking about the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is in the Middle East. Qatar is in the Middle East.
Sure. But you're also, you're also talking about countries that are, that are not governed by a terrorist organization. What I'm saying here is this is what I'm saying. By acknowledging Palestine as its own independent state, you are therefore giving more influence and credence towards Hamas within not only the area, but also within the Middle Eastern region.
Wait, I'm not saying that we want the H group to still be leading Palestine. I'm saying that as part of a two-state solution, they would no longer be leading it.
Okay. The two-state solution, right, by proposing and propping up sort of a democratic figure, would probably more likely than not fail in that area of the world. It would. As it has failed time and again, as it's failed in Afghanistan, as it's failed in Iraq.
It
is.
The dynamics in Afghanistan and Iraq are not the same between Israel and Palestine. It is crazy, man. This is crazy, man.
You're suggesting unstable.
No. What you're quite literally just suggesting is like, let's keep this war going. What's your peace plan? What do you suggest? What's if not a two-state solution? What do you suggest?
The peace plan is funding Israel to the point where Hamas has been defeated.
And then what prevents the continuation of another group?
By having Israel fully
By the way, just to be clear, it's the United States assessment that like it's impossible for Israel to just completely defeat the H group.
Yeah, we also had this idea that it was impossible to beat Al Qaeda, but we did. So I feel like
that's not true. That's not true.
No,
that was not true. It was not true. The United States.
Look back in the 1999.
The United States. That is not true. First of all, we have more sophisticated intelligence today than we did yet the last.
Oh, come on. That's poor argument. Sorry. Poor argument. You're talking about sophistication.
Wait. Do you not believe that our intelligence is better today than it was 30 years ago?
So you're just saying you don't believe in our intelligence? 30 years.
Absolutely not. What I'm saying in the 90s, our intelligence today is more accurate than it was in the 1990s or the early 2000s. Do you disagree with that?
The 1990s assessment of us never defeating Al Qaeda was proven wrong, right?
Wait. I'm asking you a simple question. Do you think our intelligence today is more sophisticated than it was in the 1990s?
Yes, but not in an area that it would lift that.
Okay, right. So our intelligence is better today. So as a result of our best intelligence,
that our intelligence in the Middle East.
Why did they say that we couldn't beat Al Qaeda? What was the reason that they thought that?
Because they believed that they were too dispersed within the Middle East and it was impossible to track down a source of them.
And why do we think now today that we can't beat Hamas?
For a similar reason.
No, it's not actually because of a dispersal.
It is due to dispersal.
No, it's
because
not.
the worry that
No,
if
it's
you would
not.
defeat
It's because of a
listen,
sophisticated
listen to
tunnel
my point,
system
Harry.
that exists under Gaza that we don't think that we could flush out all of the people in it. So it's not like that they're widely dispersed all over the Middle East.
Where would
It's because
their
of a
leaders?
sophisticated
where
tunnel
would their
system?
lead-
And
their
again,
leaders-
that is far more solid in terms of intelligence than we had in the 1990s. So, and also, just to be clear, like your view of let's just keep funding them until, what was it? Till the H group is just completely demolished?
until the Gaza Strip is no longer influenced by Hamas.
Okay. So that would result in like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands more people dying.
Hamas terrorists dying, yes.
Really? Do you think it's just H group bad people who've been dying in this conflict, or?
Of course it's not.
Okay. So when I'm saying thousands and thousands and thousands of people dying,
Sure. I mean, the U.S. would give Israel this. They would give them more funding. They would say, okay, Israel, your goal now is to go into Gaza, to eliminate the terrorists with preventing as many civilian casualties as possible.
I'm sorry. Has Netanyahu done a good job of that thus far, or what?
He hasn't had a president that's pushed him enough on it.
Oh yeah,
which is true.
Donald
Trump,
the guy. Donald Trump the guy.
Look at
Wait, hold on.
Hold
Hold on.
Look at their relationship. Look at Biden.
Yeah, hold on. Donald Trump, the guy who told Israel in the campaign to just get it done, and the guy who's appointed people to his administration who don't believe in the West Bank. They don't believe in the West Bank. You think
does
that
Trump have a better relationship with Netanyahu?
You think that they are going to be more firm when it comes to civilians? Joe Biden was the guy that got Israel to open entries into Gaza to fund, or to bring in humanitarian trucks of humanitarian aid. There was like around a time where Joe Biden demanded that Netanyahu open an entry so that 250 trucks per day could get in. Donald Trump said that there should be no humanitarian aid.
Does Trump have a better relationship with Netanyahu than Biden?
Yeah, I think Netanyahu likes Donald Trump more.
Yes. So therefore, Trump would be able to influence Netanyahu better than Biden.
Wait.
So I feel like if Trump put pressure, listen.
Where has Donald Trump said that he wants to the main thing in his mind is civilian casualties?
Do you not think that Trump wants to limit civilian casualties?
Trump has said nothing about civilian casualties. He said that we should be providing humanitarian aid, and he said to Israel, get the job done.
Yep. So obviously, I don't think Trump is trying to endorse civilian casualties in Gaza. I don't think that's a good assertion to make, that a president by saying get the job done is trying to target civilians and not terrorist organizations. I think that's a little...
He seemed pretty okay with it?
I don't think he's okay with killing civilians. I really don't. Is that
why innocent civilian deaths in Afghanistan under his presidency went up 330%? Is that why in 2019 he changed the law surrounding drone strikes so that the United States didn't have to be as transparent when it came to civilian casualties? Or
I think
increased drone strikes 450% in the Middle East?
I think he's invested with rooting out terrorist leaders that hide.
I'm just talking about civilian casualties specifically.
I understand, but when you talk about drone strikes, now we're sort of expanding the scope. We're now expanding the scope of why.
Wait, no, we're not. That's what Israel has utilized a lot.
Is he trying to expand drone strikes in order to kill more innocent people, or is he expanding drone strikes in order to target more high value terrorist members that hide in? Even if he's expanding drone strikes with the explicit intent of like being like, I want to go after more terrorist people, we recognize that the use of these drone strikes leads to an increase in civilian casualties. And also an increase in killing leaders of terrorist organizations.
Well, then it depends. Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. I'm saying that we should care about the civilians. You're saying, if we take out a leader of a terrorist group, then it doesn't matter. No. I'm happy to take out leaders of bad groups, obviously. But your view is just like, taking out the leaders justifies the unaliving of a bunch of innocent civilians. 330% increase in civilian casualties in Afghanistan. That doesn't strike me as morally correct.
I think there was more strikes in Afghanistan under Trump than under Obama per se. But I also think what you have to think here is Trump's goal with Netanyahu is they're close friends, right? Naturally, more than Biden. Trump would be able to apply more pressure to Netanyahu to cut down on these sort of what you see in the media, these high.
But where? Joe Biden is the guy who's been applying pressure to Netanyahu.
But it's been ineffective because they have no relationship. They don't have any relationship.
They have a relationship. Joe
have a
Biden's
very
the
poor
president of the
relationship.
United States.
Harry, when Netanyahu spoke in Congress, a lot of Democrats walked out. They didn't want to listen to him.
Yeah,
There's no relationship between the Democrats and
absolutely.
There's no
Joe Biden has
relationship.
known Netanyahu for his entire career.
That's great. It's a very cool
and Netanyahu spoke very favorably about Joe Biden in his book, talking about how
great.
they've had a good,
It's all about
they've had a good relationship and they've worked together. Now Joe Biden doesn't like Netanyahu. Netanyahu doesn't like Joe Biden, but Joe Biden's been the guy pushing Netanyahu to open the gates, turn on the water, turn on the electricity. That's been him.
Would be more effective.
Where has Donald Trump? Where has Donald Trump advocated for any of these measures that apply to civilians?
I once again I think that the assertion that Trump does not care about innocent civilians is just.
Do you have any evidence that he does? Because his record when it comes to drone strikes and innocent civilian deaths paints a different picture. So what's your evidence that he does?
I do not think that, once again, you're making this assertion, right, that by raising drone strikes, which I think, shows different layers than just purely targeting more civilians. I think that raising drone strikes has an effect that is not directed on civilians. You do see raised the 330%. I think the key here, though, that what you're missing is that Trump's relationship with Netanyahu is the key towards effectively dealing with the problems in Palestine and eliminating a terrorist organization.
Oh my God.
Better than Biden. I think that's true. You talk about U.S. foreign intelligence.
But where? You just keep saying the same thing over and over again, just in a different way. I'm asking you, where has Donald Trump indicated that he cares about civilians? Jules, thanks for the galaxy. Where?
I don't know. I think
you don't know. You don't know.
But
you don't know exactly because it doesn't exist.
I think. I mean, if we want to talk about antidotes, I think that he brought up that there was a time that there was a terrorist within a large civilian complex, and he decided not to launch any drone strikes onto that area.
You think you don't even have a specific example?
No,
you know why? No. You know why? Because it doesn't exist.
You list the drone strike stats, right? What do you want me to say? There is peace in the Middle East. There is
No. Because Israel is utilizing drone strikes mainly. That's one of their main forms.
Okay,
so
there is.
If we look at Donald Trump's record, we say, okay, a 450% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East, thousands of innocent civilians lost. And a massive increase, 330% in Afghanistan, other percentages of increase in different Middle Eastern countries. He dropped the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan. He bombed Syria, Yemen, Iraq, all these different countries. And
how many wars were started under Trump's presidency in the Middle East?
Wait, just be quiet for 5 seconds. If we see all of this taking place, we can reasonably conclude, and also when we're looking at this conflict, Donald Trump has mentioned nothing about civilians. We can reasonably conclude that civilians are not top of mind for Donald Trump. He couldn't care less. His record doesn't show that. His rhetoric doesn't show that. And when I'm asking you, do you have any evidence to suggest that he does? You say, I don't know. That's the point. So you keep saying, well, Donald Trump has better influence over Netanyahu. He'll be able to push him harder.
Which is true.
Won't do it. He's not going to.
Even if Netanyahu, sorry. How do you know that? There's been 0 years of the Trump presidency under a Israel-Palestine war. You're making this assertion, but you have no backing. This conflict has been going
on for 80 plus years, my man. So the idea that there's never been like Trump wasn't serving when there was conflict is utter nonsense.
The war was kickstarted in 2022 and was brought onto a whole nother level. This idea that Trump,
I would agree that it's on a different level.
The idea that the Trump playbook is already out on Israel-Palestine from 2016 to 2020 is just poor because it's a completely different scenario.
You're going off of fantasy. You're going off of fantasy.
I'm going off of policy.
Yes, you are. You're going off of like, I think that Donald Trump will be able to do this. I'm saying, look at his record. Look at what he's No, hold on.
I'm talking about Trump's solution.
I'm saying, look at his record. Look at what he said, right? Look at Donald Trump saying, yeah, you just have to finish the job in Gaza. Look at Donald Trump's record on drone strikes. Look at him saying that, yeah, actually Biden's been too weak on Israel. We need to be funding them more. We need to be giving them more weapons and more things like that. Biden's been weak. There is no evidence that Donald Trump would be harder when it comes to civilian casualties. You can't provide any evidence, and you're arguing on behalf of this point.
I'm talking about solutions that Trump has proposed to Ukraine.
Where is
the
solution for civilians? Where?
You're talking about solutions for. I'm talking about foreign policy, right?
No, you're not.
Listen, I will wrap it in. I'll wrap it in. The foreign.
We're talking about civilians.
The foreign policy for Israel-Palestine is to supply Israel with the proper resources to be able to eliminate Hamas. Now, regarding civilians, Trump as a president, I do not think will be focused in killing major civilians during strikes on terrorists. However, I think Trump does want Israel to establish more of a ground game.
This guy stinks.
In West Gaza.
Come on, man.
I think. Sorry?
I said this stinks. This is a terrible point. This is an awful argument.
Good
I'm just asking a simple question. Do you have any evidence of Donald Trump caring about civilians when it comes to the Middle East right now?
He's not been president under the current context of this Israel-Palestine war.
That's not what I'm asking. Obviously,
but you're asking about civilians in the Middle East. You're asking about civilians in the Middle East. And I'm saying that the place I'm saying that it's still out. I'm saying that there's no definitive answer that I can give you because he's not been president.
Okay. Based on obviously, Donald Trump also wasn't president in World War II. There's no definitive way we could have said he could have handled that, but we could have assumed. Based on the evidence we have right now, based on what we know, based on Donald Trump's record, which, by the way, is a pretty good indicator as to what he would do, given that he's already done it.
Necessarily different context.
It is a really good indicator. What are you talking about? It's his goddamn record. It's what he's done. And if we look at his record and we look at what he has said, we can reasonably conclude that based off of that, Donald Trump has no plan for civilians, couldn't give a damn less. Do you have any conflicting evidence that would make us reasonably conclude the other side, that he does care about civilians?
I think that if you want to hash that out more, I think that Trump has a better track record than Biden of dealing with terrorist organizations.
I'm not asking about terrorist organizations.
Well, I'm talking about
you're dodging this question like it's the goddamn plague. Do you have any evidence to make us, a reasonable person, reasonably conclude that Donald Trump does care about civilian casualties?
I think that as a human person, he would, talking about his leadership as president, talking about his leadership in foreign policy as president. I think that right now there's no evidence to suggest he cares more about civilians than Biden.
Okay, so okay, great. So you would acknowledge that reasonably we conclude that Donald Trump doesn't care about civilians.
That is absolutely not what I said.
Okay, I'm asking.
There's no reasonable evidence to include that he cares more or less about civilians than Biden.
Wait,
because we have not seen him handle the current state of this war in Israel-Palestine.
Holy fuck. Okay, so let's then what's the opposite evidence? What's the evidence that he does? Because we have certainly evidence that he doesn't. Again, changing laws in 2019 to make it easier for civilian casualties to be covered up, 330% increase in civilian casualties in Afghanistan, dropping the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, things of that nature. What's the evidence of the opposite side that he does?
The lack of wars that were created under his term.
That has no response to what I'm saying right now. What's the evidence that Donald Trump cares about civilian casualties?
The evidence that he cares about civilian casualties, Harry, is that under his presidency, while you saw an increase in the percentage, you also saw an increase in the percentage of terrorist leaders that died in the Middle East. So I think maybe listen.
Fucking batshit crazy.
The argument here,
basically, there's no evidence.
The argument here.
I'm going to wrap this up. There's no evidence that he cares about civilian casualties.
Do you think Trump has zero care for civilian casualties?
Yeah, his record shows
zero
that he couldn't care less about civilians.
Listen carefully what you're saying. Yes. Zero care. He does not care about civilians.
There's no evidence to make me believe that. There's no evidence to make me believe that Donald Trump cares about civilian casualties.
Okay, I think that he cares about civilian casualties. I don't think he cares about it to the level that Biden did.
Okay, so you say that Biden cares more about civilian casualties?
Yes, and therefore is more cautious in dealing with
Okay, great. So what's your evidence that Donald Trump cares about civilian casualties?
I don't think that his policy hinges on the fact that we will bomb whatever is necessary in order to kill terrorists.
So do you have any evidence to suggest that he cares about civilian casualties? I'm asking you a really simple question.
Okay. Is there any evidence during Trump's term of him bombing a large civilian?
I'm just asking a question here.
Is there any evidence during Trump's presidency of him bombing a large civilian area? Killing killing hundreds of civilians. Like the thing is that you're talking about a specific example of him.
If he's increasing,
the thing is, we don't know.
This is so insane.
We don't know
if he's increasing civilian casualties by 330%.
You're naming a statistic without naming the increase
based off of that Donald Trump doesn't.
There was an increase in bombings.
Yes,
an increase in drone strikes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that increase was met with a more higher rate of efficacy in dealing with terrorist leaders, right?
Wait.
So
efficacy in terms of like taking out leaders, or efficacy in terms of like
taking out
terrorists to civilian casualties ratio?
Terrorists.
Okay, but you understand that nobody in national security just views it as, oh, how many terrorists do we take out?
It's not black and white. It's absolutely not black and white, and it's not black and white.
Yeah, exactly. It's not black and white. They factor in civilians because that's kind of like international law, like the laws
factor
of
in
war.
Civilians.
So you gotta have to think about that. It's kind of like the law. So if Donald Trump is increasing drone strikes, we can't just say, oh yeah, we're going to increase drone strikes and take out all these terrorists. But who gives a damn about the civilians? that's something that we have to not only have a moral obligation to, but legally have to factor into our decisions when we're calling in these strikes. So do you have any evidence that Donald Trump cares about its innocent civilian casualties? Because if I ask you this question like 6 times now, you've dodged it every single time. So it's a simple yes, and then you explain, or no, you don't, and we end it there.
I think the explanation to this question is we have little evidence both ways of him dealing or not dealing with civilian casualties.
The little evidence then?
I'm sure that there was a decision that he made in foreign policy where he decided not to bomb or not to drone strike a certain high civilian.
What's the little evidence? You said that there's little evidence. What is it?
I mean, they're not going to reveal areas where they just didn't bomb.
Okay. So if you can't just say we have little evidence and then not have any evidence. Do you have evidence that Donald Trump cares about innocent civilian casualties or not?
I have no numbers in front of me to give me direct evidence.
Okay, great. So then why do you believe that he cares about innocent civilians?
Because I believe that every single human... Whoa.
Hold on.
Now I can't...
Ruby, No, you have to be quiet now. No, you have to be quiet. Hold on 1 second. I just saw a notification at the top of my screen. Ruby, thank you for the $111 on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Ruby in the chat? She said, please kick. So yeah, you have to go now, buddy. If you send $100 to kick, like, I'm sorry, like you're getting fucking kicked. I'm sorry, bro. You're out of here, dog. You're gone, buddy. You're gone. Sorry, Ruby. I just saw that now. Wow, look at everybody. Oh my God, everybody was begging me to kick him. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, W Ruby in the chat, $111 to kick that guy. Yeah. Y'all can like thank Ruby for that one, man. That's her doing. Shout out Ruby, I appreciate you. She said, I'm Jules, by the way. I guess that's her username in the chat. So maybe like if Jules is in the chat, that's her. W Ruby. I appreciate you, Ruby. Thank you for the $111 so very much. I appreciate you. Jesse, thanks for the $1. Love you to death, but set a timer next time on this guy. Yeah. Desiree, thanks for the $2. Harry Love, I'm begging you to ditch this guy. Man. Look at these. Everybody was kind of like, oh man. African Knight, thanks for the $15. Keep pushing my fellow Democratic creator. The fight goes on. Damn right it does. And Ruby with the another $100 saying, I'm late tonight, but here to check in. Yo, Ruby, WU for another $100. Can we get some more W's for Ruby? $100 again? Golly, W Ruby, man. By the way, happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. Again, more W's for Ruby. $100 again, dude. That's fucking insane, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Wow. Back to back, man. Back to back. That's crazy. Yo, Emily, thanks for the 1 cent. Bald Maori? I don't know what that joke is. And then for another 1 cent, what's your favorite One Direction boy? Probably Harry Styles. I think his music's good. Minecraft, thanks for the $5. Harry, what are your thoughts on if Herbert Hoover was responsible for the Great Depression? Yes. Jesse, thanks for the $1. Keep cooking, kid. You're doing great. Chef's kiss. I appreciate you so much, Jesse. Jennifer, thanks for the $2. Read this to yourself. Got you. I know. I still have to get back to you on that. You're right. Reese, thanks for the 1 cent. Happy New Year's Eve. This was earlier. Please pick a new song for Anna's edit. Hijack is terrible. Okay, pick only Angel by Harry Styles. She won't listen to me, only you. Okay, Angel by Harry Styles. Russell, thanks for the 1 cent. So glad you went live, or excuse me, $1. So glad you went live today, Harry. I don't have the best day today. I'm excited to be here. Russell, I'm sorry your day wasn't good, but tomorrow will be better. I hope you know that. Anna, thanks for the $1. Harry, I'm being attacked by the team. I'm starting to think they're all MAGA with the amount of lies they're giving. P.S. We need more alt account content. I know. I have to post on the alt account again. You're right. I haven't been in the past couple of days. Folks, stop attacking Anna. That's a real patriot right there. If you do, perhaps you're MAGA. Perhaps. Lindsay, thanks for the $5 gas money. Come see me on Saturday. Oh, I appreciate the $5, Lindsay. Thank you. Tahira, thanks for the $5. Help, I was showing my mom pictures of guys who were actually interested in me and randomly included your picture and she liked you the best. Hey, W, your mom. Maggie, thanks for the $5. How do you sit next to a man with a Trump hat on my 3-hour flight the other day? I was sad. Maggie, you're a strong fighter. I can imagine that wasn't fun. Anna, thanks for the $1 as well. The team has been lying on my name. That's terrible, man. Corey, thanks for the $5. Skull Vikings. The Vikings are looking good this year, man. Rosie, thanks for the 50 cents. Don't read out loud. Oh, you're right. I will make sure to do that. I promise. And Sid, thanks for the $10. I'm trying to finish up work emails, but you're too hot. It's distracting me. Bad timing on the live. Yo, Sid, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. That's very, very kind, man. That's very kind. Tyrone, thanks for the $5. Kenneth, thanks for the $5 saying stop ducking me. All right, you can come up if you want. Tony, thanks for the $1. Tatiana, thanks for the $1. post some fit checks or cooking vids. I will have to do that. Leah, thanks for the $1. I've donated $13 so far. Love you, Harry. Leah, I love you back. Cadence, thanks for the $1. And Anna said she'd rather play Roblox than watch you live. You know, I have a feeling that that's not true. And to Anthony, thanks for the $10, and twice thanks for the $10 and the $2 as well. And Colleen, thanks for the 20. Sorry, I'm just getting to all of these because I was talking to that guy for quite a long time. Oh my God. And Bob, thanks for the $100 as well to kick this guy. That was at 11:55. So hopefully he's still here. Yo, Bob, I appreciate you so much. He said, hi, Harry. This is to kick the guy. You're more patient than I could be. My name is Aaron. Happy New Year to you and your family. Yo, give some W's for Aaron in the chat. It came from Bob, but her name is Aaron. So give her some W's in the chat. I appreciate you so very much. You're a fantastic person. And Mandy, thanks for the $5 as well. Oh, that's very cool. Yes, absolutely, Mandy. I'd love to do that. I just saw your message. Yes, absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. W Aaron, W Mandy, Lindsay, thanks for the $3 as well. As a single mother, Southern Democratic woman, this political climate can be terrifying, especially for my daughter's future. Thanks for giving us hope. Keep up fighting the good fight. Well, you're a superhero, my man. I mean, you're a mother. Mothers are superheroes. So you keep it up. And I understand, this can be a scary time, but when we have folks like yourself who are fighting every day, it gives us a sense of hope. We can do it together. You know what I mean? So Mandy, I appreciate you. Lindsay, I appreciate you. And Aaron, I appreciate you so much. And of course, Ruby with the double 100, man. That's crazy. So Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. I appreciate you so very much. I have to Peloton tonight. So I can't do like a 1:30 live. I have to Peloton tonight, man. Because I have a feeling I won't be Pelotoning tomorrow. I have a feeling. All right, let's bring up Mike. Mike says he's MAGA. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. Drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. Double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 600,000 likes and all that good stuff. All right, Mike, you vote for Donald Trump, man?
I most certainly did.
What a disaster.
For you, not for me.
No, for
not
you.
For the rest of America.
Oh, it's going to hurt you, man. It's going to hurt you.
How so?
I mean, look at Lexi in the chat going through Chris stream withdrawals. Wow. There's a number of ways, right? It could be from a foreign policy perspective. It can be from a domestic policy perspective. It can be the fact that Donald Trump wants to raise your prices with tariffs. It can be the fact that Donald Trump couldn't give a damn about climate change, is going to deregulate the fossil fuel industry, allow them to pollute, which I don't know if you have kids or other family, it's going to hurt them and their kids and their futures. The fact that Donald Trump has no policy to address housing, the fact that Donald Trump is pro-life and will push pro-life policy to make it harder for women to access critical reproductive care. I mean, the list goes on as to how Donald Trump is going to hurt us, and you voted for it.
All these things you rattled off, right? What did Biden do to stop all that?
What was that?
What did Biden do to... Everything you rattled off just now was created by Biden.
That's so fucking nonsense. I mean, that's the dumbest
nonsense.
Listen, I would say that that's the worst point I heard all night, but I talked to the guy before. Can you explain to me how Joe Biden caused anything I just picked out?
Harry, I actually want to get back to something from the previous guy.
No, you're going to answer my question now. You just said that everything I just mentioned was caused by Joe Biden. So just pick any of the things I just mentioned and please tell me how it was caused by Joe Biden.
Housing.
Okay, how is housing prices going up caused by Joe Biden?
Yeah. The cares, everything he's done is raised.
Okay, so can you give me an example?
Cost of living.
Can you give me an example of how Joe Biden raised housing prices?
Let's see. He just keeps giving money away to everybody but us. Nobody here is getting.
Can you mute the TV in the background?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Hold on, give me a minute. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Dude, this is, by the way, we've spoken before.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. This is our second time. But that's not the one I wanted to talk about. Can we talk about the one thing you said with the previous guy?
Well, okay, sure. If you're so insistent on this, sure.
Did you call Netanyahu a terrorist?
No, I didn't. But I think there's like a reasonable argument to make there.
No, there's no fucking way. Stop, Harry. Stop, Harry. Do you know what it's like to be in the Middle East?
I'm just saying that, like, the International Criminal Court, the ICC, issued an arrest warrant for him.
Okay, well, that's the ICC. Yeah.
Do you think the
Have
ICC
you
is
ever-
illegitimate or?
All right. No, it's not. It's not at all.
Okay.
Have you ever put boots down in the Middle East?
No,
Have you served over in the Middle East?
no, I have not.
I have.
Okay.
I'll tell
Thank
you
you for your
why.
service.
And I'll tell you, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, those people hate us. They absolutely hate us, and they hate Israel.
Who?
Oh, let's see, Iraq, Iran, Jordan.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. They don't like us. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like us at all.
Yep.
Okay, and who's our ally there?
Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates,
Oh.
Qatar.
Is Saudi really our guys right now? Who's in charge over there right now?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some beef with Saudi Arabia, especially in recent history. But yeah, we have some relationship with them.
Okay. How old are you, Harry?
I'm 22.
22. I'm 54. I served both wars over there.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay. And when I was a young man like yourself, every day the Arab nations were attacking Israel.
God, I really don't want to talk about the fucking Middle East again, man.
But well, here we are, buddy. But you said something where you said Netanyahu is a terrorist now.
I actually didn't say that.
You did
but I think there's an argument to be
you
made.
Called him a terrorist.
I did not. I actually didn't. But I think that I genuinely think there's an argument to be made. But like anyway, it's like, I guess it's
Harry,
semantics.
Harry,
It's
let's say
whatever.
you went in a roundabout way.
Okay.
right,
Whatever.
that-
Sure. Just go ahead. I'm actually picking on semantics now.
Let's just go. You said it in a roundabout way.
Sure. Whatever. However. Sure. Whatever.
Okay.
Sure.
You know what? Those people hate Israel. They hate him.
Okay.
Okay, and what are they supposed to do? They're attacked every day. Every single day they're attacked. They had to build a dome to protect themselves from these people coming at them nonstop.
Yeah, I don't mind the Iron Dome.
Just for existing, Harry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And it's not Israel's fault.
Wait,
that
for the record,
Hamas-
I've never hold on. I've never argued that Israel doesn't deserve security, right? I think that every people, every country deserves security. So like if an Iron Dome like gives Israel the security that they need to exist, like I'm okay with that because it's the people in Israel are innocent, right? These are just humans, right? They're just humans. They're just human beings. And so I'm not against like security for a nation that exists. All I'm saying is that people like Netanyahu do nothing for peace. Like people like Netanyahu make it worse. They take more human lives.
Okay. We agree on that. Lives are lost, right? War is
Yeah.
war. War is hell. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Harry, what I would like you to do, you make a lot of money, right?
No, I don't make like a lot of
Well,
money.
you make enough money where you can actually get on a plane tomorrow and go to Israel. Go see what's going on over there. Go see who's getting attacked by who every day.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Obviously.
Well, but you're over here.
Wait, you have to understand my position,
calling
right?
Netanyahu a terrorist.
Wait. You have to understand my position. I don't hate.
Understand mine.
No. You have to. I'm happy to understand your position, but you're misciting mine. You're saying like Israel's getting attacked. I agree. I don't think that should happen. I believe that everybody in Israel deserves prosperity, security, and safety, just like people in Palestine do. They deserve equal amounts of security and safety where all these people can live in their respective nations and pursue lives that they want to live and work the jobs that they want to live or work and follow whatever dreams that they have for themselves. I'm simply taking issue with Netanyahu. I don't think that everybody in Israel is bad. I don't think that everybody in Palestine is bad. Netanyahu himself is just a piece of shit.
Harry, what do you think? Okay, hold on. You're saying like we bomb hospital. Well, not we, but Israel bombs hospitals, killing civilians and all this, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think for 1 minute, had America been attacked, we would hide our soldiers under hospitals, under schools, all our commanders would be hidden in these places? How would you go about defeating them?
Wait, just to be clear,
when you know that's where they're hidden.
I don't condone the age group either. Like they suck as well, right? I'm totally there with you. There are really bad people who do awful things. They're terrible. I would have no problem if every single member of that group was taken out, right? Anybody that's taking the lives of innocent people, no matter who that innocent person is, no matter what their race, nationality, religion is, are bad, right? But in terms of how do we take them out? There has to be a better way than going after civilian encampments, as has happened pretty often, where
Harry,
we know that their civilians are, and Israel is struck anyway.
Harry, who's in those civilian encampments?
I'm sure that there are bad people in those encampments, but then it has to come to a question of what do we value? Do you, if let's just say there's 100 civilians, if there's 10 bad people in that civilian group, so 110 people collectively, but 100 civilians, do you take the strike? I would argue probably not, right? Probably
Harry, I'm taking the strike, Harry.
That's all. It's 100. Hold on. I think it's 50% of Gaza's population is under the age of 18. So you have to imagine that in that group of 100 people, 50 people are at least children.
Harry, there's a means to an end.
Oh, well, that can't be the position of war. Because, by the way, we have laws to say that that's not the position of war.
What did we do to Nagasaki? What did we do to Hiroshima? It means to an end, Harry.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I totally understand what you're saying. It's tough. But in the context of this, when we have
Harry, Israel wants to exist.
I agree with their existence. I don't think that the people of Israel should be blown off the face of the earth. No problem. They deserve security, but so do the Palestinians.
And guess what? Stop harboring terrorists.
Sure.
And that's what they do.
Sure. I mean, well, not Palestinians.
Unless you've put boots down on the ground there, right? And see who these people harbor. And they'll tell you, right? Walking into a town in Iraq. No, there's no terror. There's nobody here. No ISIS here. No Taliban here. No Iraqi, army hiding here. We're good to go. We're good to go. But yet there are, Harry. They are.
I don't know how this connects. You can't make the argument that if you've only put boots on the ground, then you can have a valid opinion on this, because then you'd argue that Donald Trump can't have a valid opinion on the Middle East.
Well, you can't argue that Joe Biden should have you know what I mean?
But I don't agree with your argument. I don't think that in order to have a valid opinion on the Middle East, you have to have boots on the ground.
You can't argue that Obama did. You can't
Wait, that's your argument.
Hold on. You can't argue that Bush did. You can't argue that Clinton did. None of
that's your argument.
Presidents have put boots on the fucking ground.
But that's the argument I'm criticizing that you're making. You're saying, well, Harry, you haven't put boots on the ground. How can you have an opinion? I'm saying, yeah, I don't think that you need to have boots on the ground in the Middle East, or to have done that in order to have an opinion on the Middle East. I think anybody can, and there are plenty of well-researched people who have never served in the military who have very well-educated, very well-informed opinions on the Middle East. But you're saying that to me, I can't because I haven't put boots on the ground. It's just not a good argument. That's all.
Harry, if you've been there, you'll see how much they hate us.
I have no doubt in my mind that countries like Iran, countries like Iraq,
a 5-year-old child hates me.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that countries like Iran, objectively, the leadership in Iran does not like the United States. I totally agree.
Harry,
but that doesn't justify what Israel has done in Gaza.
And this started a long, long time ago.
100%.
In Afghanistan, ready? These kids were 6 years old when we first went there. And now they're 26. 27, 28 years old. And now they fucking hate us like they've never hated anybody in the world. And they hate Israel because Israel is our ally. They attack Israel every chance they get. Why was the
I think that's wrong.
Was there Iron
I think that's
Dome?
wrong. That's bad.
Why was the Iron Dome created, Harry?
We already concluded this, that they needed security. I totally agree. I have no doubt that that's why it's created. But here's look.
Hold on, Harry, hold. They get attacked over. When was the last time they attacked Palestine for no reason?
Who? Israel?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, that gets into a much deeper conversation of what's a justified response and what's not. I don't think that.
Has Israel ever attacked Palestine for no reason?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, how far does a reason stretch? That's the question.
Well, no. That's not it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because, like, are you saying, like, let's just say, wait, just time out. No, just listen. Listen to what I'm arguing. Listen to what I'm arguing. If hypothetically speaking, let's just say a country was attacked in the 1950s, and the country that was attacked by, country A attacked country B. Let's just say every day since the 1950s, country B was attacking country A. You could say that, they responded because they got attacked. But at some point, you have to be like, okay, well, you can't retaliate for like 80 years, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is a much more nuanced conversation than is this attack justified? Is it's not? It's far more complex than that. But just listen to me very carefully. You need to understand my position. Both Israel, Gaza, and the entirety of Palestine deserve security. If you're an Israeli or if you're a Palestinian, you deserve to live. You deserve to live a life that you want to live. You deserve to live securely. You deserve to live safely. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're coming from in the world. You deserve security. But with that said, this can't continue. This cannot continue. This conflict and the way that it's going forward cannot continue because it's depriving people in Gaza of that life that they want to live. Now, I understand that it's very nuanced and it's very complex because you have terrible leadership in Gaza. I don't disagree. But this is harming innocent kids and innocent civilians generally. It just can't continue. So maybe that helps because I totally agree that Israel's been attacked. I totally agree that Gaza's been attacked. People in both these places who are victims of their leadership deserve security.
Okay. You and me, right? I'm 6'2", 240. You're what? 6'1"?
I'm not 6'1". I'm like 5'9", 5'10". I'm like 160.
5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
Are you going to pick a fight with me, Harry?
Perhaps.
You'd lose.
I don't know.
And that's what Hamas did with Israel. They picked a fight.
Oh, fuck. The live just got flagged for harassment and bullying. God
For
damn
me?
it. No, I don't know if it was probably, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why.
So am I getting kicked?
No, not yet.
All right, so I haven't done anything wrong.
Not yet.
All right, and I won't. Harry, this, like I said, this is our second time talking. I enjoy talking to you. You're not a like absent-minded kid. You're kind of intelligent.
Kind of intelligent. I appreciate that.
But if you're going to talk about the Middle East where you've never been, you never put boots on the ground.
For the record, I used to live in the Middle East.
I know you have. You come from money. You're a very rich kid.
I'm rich? Oh my God, that's laughable, man. I wish I was rich.
You lived in Singapore, bro.
I did live in Singapore,
You lived in Singapore without money.
I mean, anyway, it doesn't matter. Go ahead. Listen. I'm not. Poor. I'm not starving, but I'm not like
Right.
I myself, Harry Sisson, am not rich.
Okay, but your family has money. You come from money. Yes?
I'm not rich. I keep telling you, I'm not rich.
I'm not saying you're rich. I'm saying you come from money.
I'm telling you, I'm not rich.
I'm not saying you're rich. I'm asking, do you come from money?
I'm telling you, I'm not rich.
Do your parents have money?
I can only speak to my personal finances. I'm not rich.
All right. Well, once again, neither here nor there. Harry, you've actually lived a life where you have not been able to join the military, to go serve your country in a war against countries that just, and by the way, it's our fault. Don't get me wrong, it's our fault. We went over to the Middle East. We should have never been there in the first place. But now we're there,
Sure.
and we're going to be there for the rest of our fucking lives. My kid, who is your age, is going to see this war at some point in time. And you're going to see it too. Don't think you're not.
What am I going to see?
You're going to see this war.
What does
What's
that mean?
coming out in the Middle East now is going to be very nasty for your age group. And my son is the same age as you. And he's got a great job. He's lived a great life. But you guys are going to go see this war. It's nasty.
That means I don't know. Like, are you saying we're going? Like, we are going to be deployed, or what?
Yeah, you don't think this thing's popping off?
No,
Not at all.
no, not to the point of like a draft. No, definitely not. No.
You want to know why then? Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump's going to send your son to war?
No, he's going to stop it.
Okay, well that's fucking delusional. I mean that's delusional. No, come on, come on, no. Come on, man. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of talking about this, man.
How is it
That's delusional. Donald Trump is more interested in war than fucking Biden by a million times a million. I just want to be clear. Donald Trump isn't even president yet, and he's talking about invading Greenland, invading Mexico, invading Panama. He wants to put tariffs on Mexico and Canada. We're already entering into a trade war with these people. You can't claim that Donald Trump is anti-war while wanting to invade Greenland.
Oh my God. Oh, where'd you go?
I'm walking around. I'm walking around. Come on.
Come on, Harry. This is funny. Get back over here, you.
You can't argue. You can't argue that Donald Trump is anti-war. You just can't do
He's
it.
anti-war. I love fucking with this kid. I love it. Put your headphones back on.
You can't do it. You can't do it. If Donald Trump is increasing drone strikes, he wants to invade Mexico, you can't do it.
Who said he wants to invade Mexico?
Him.
That's not what he said, numbnuts.
That's what. Oh, you like numbnuts now. You've taken it. Exactly. It's a good word. That's exactly what he said. We have reporting. Also, we have reporting from Rolling Stone about his detailed plan of like wanting a soft invasion into Mexico.
Do you really listen to Rolling Stone?
I read everything. Yeah.
Oh, God almighty. Rolling Stone?
Yes.
Harry, I know you're a leftist.
I'm not a leftist.
You're a liberal.
I'm a liberal. That's right. Yeah.
You're a hardcore liberal leftist.
I'm not a leftist.
How are you not?
I'm a liberal. I'm in line with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not a leftist.
He's a left.
A leftist is more associated with like socialists and communists. I'm objectively not any of those things. As a matter of fact, I don't like communists. I don't like socialists.
Dude, you probably lost 1 million followers just now.
The overwhelming majority of people on the left are none of these things. The overwhelming majority of people on the left are not communists or socialists.
Dude, you're a communist.
Define communism.
Oh, Christ almighty, Harry.
Define it.
You do this game now.
Define it.
What is your definition of communism?
There's not a my definition or your definition. There is a definition. How do you define it?
All right, what is it, Harry?
Stateless, classless, moneyless society. Very simple. Karl Marx talked about this. What a lunatic, by the way. What a lunatic he is. But he talked about it, and that's the definition.
Okay. So you don't fall into any one of those fucking particular...
I do not believe in a stateless, classless, moneyless society. No.
What do you believe in?
I believe in like in terms of like how the government should be run. I believe in a democratic system where a capitalist system where voters get to choose our elected representatives and whatnot. I agree, with the United States system. I'm a liberal. I'm a capitalist. If I'm a liberal and capitalist, I can't be a communist by definition.
Why are you a capitalist? I'm sorry, capitalist.
You're not a capitalist? No.
I'm a capitalist through and through.
Okay. So I'm a capitalist because I believe in competition in the marketplace. I believe that competition makes us better.
And because you make a shit ton of money off this site.
Man, I wish, everybody thinks that I can't speak for anybody else's finances, but everybody thinks we make a shit ton of money and we're just rolling in dough. I wish that were the case, because going to school in Manhattan is not fun, man. It's an expensive place.
Are you from New York?
No, I went to high school in New York, but I'm not like I was.
Where'd you go?
I went to school outside of New York City in high school.
Okay. My kid went to Madison High School in Brooklyn, New York. I went to Madison High School in Brooklyn, New York.
Is he a liberal?
I don't like pushing my politics on him.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to let him figure out what he wants to do.
Let me talk to him. I'll make him a Democrat. I'll push my politics onto him. I have no problem with that.
I'll kill him.
Well, okay. You can't say you hate pushing your politics on him and then says, well, you'd kill him if he was a liberal.
Come on, Howard. That was funny. We can laugh, right?
I suppose that was humorous. That was humorous. That's fine.
All right, we can laugh, right?
That was humorous.
All right.
That was humorous. That's fine.
Look, my whole thing is, look, I don't hate you, Harry. I don't. And I know there's a lot of people that do, and it probably sucks for you, right?
I don't care.
I don't think you should either, because I know there are people that hate me. And I don't give a fuck either. All right?
That's good. That's good.
But your outlook on the Middle East is bad, bro. It's
okay. All right.
It's real bad, man. Look, like I said, I've been there. It sucks. And unless Donald Trump fixes this, which he can, and he did it before.
I got to be honest. First of all, he didn't do it before. But second of all, you got to be delusional to think that Donald Trump is going to be able to solve the Middle East. We've had, presidents since the 1950s who, have tried. These are some of the brightest people in the country, lawyers, military generals, really experienced folks in foreign policy.
Jimmy Carter? Was Jimmy Carter one of them?
Jimmy Carter, I think, is overhated.
Oh, stop.
Oh, please.
Come on, dude, look. Ready?
Oh, please.
I'm 54 years old. You're 22.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I got 32 years on you.
Okay.
I remember the Iran crisis, the hostage thing, all of that. Jimmy Carter was a shit president, bro.
I don't think he was I think that unfortunate things happened under him that were not caused by him.
Well, he didn't make them better.
Well, it's incredibly difficult to make better. Like the Iran hostage crisis was not caused by Jimmy Carter. He actually ended up by the end of his presidency securing a deal, and they were so angry at him that they wouldn't release him until Reagan became president. It was just a really crazy situation. And then with the energy crisis, that wasn't because of Jimmy Carter, and there was no immediate fix to that. It's just there were tough things that happened under Jimmy Carter that were out of his control. It doesn't mean he was a bad president. I just think people judge him too harshly.
All right. Can we do another topic right now?
No, I got to move on. I got to bring other people up.
I got one more, Harry. One more.
All right. If you can make it quick. If you can make it super quick.
The New York Times piece that said they hid Joe Biden from the public, from the media, just hid him because they knew he was mentally incapable of being the president of the United States. Do you think that's acceptable?
Well, first of all, that's not what the New York Times piece said. They weren't hiding him. It wasn't Yeah, come on, be honest now. There wasn't a hiding Joe Biden campaign. That's not what was taking place.
We've had a really good conversation so far.
100%. And so let's be honest about this.
I actually end up liking you at the end of this.
I appreciate it. It's like it's a first for everything for a lot of Republicans.
Say it back.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Listen.
Say it back, Harry.
Listen.
Mike,
Hold
I
on.
like you too, Mike.
Excuse me. There wasn't a hiding Biden campaign going on.
Harry, there was, Harry.
There was not. By the way, again, I always just find these conversations like so funny because like I've met the president twice now. One time I got to interview him. One time I just spoke to him one-on-one. And the time when I interviewed him, there was no hiding from me. I got to ask whatever questions I wanted. There was no hiding. They didn't edit the videos at all. I edited the videos and I uploaded it when I wanted to upload it. So it's like when I always see these pieces like, oh, the New York Times or this says Joe Biden was being hidden. I've met the man. I interviewed him. I asked the questions I wanted to ask. He didn't know the questions beforehand. I had full editorial control over the video. That doesn't sound like anybody being hidden to me.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How is it that a 22-year-old kid who does TikTok, Twitter, well, it's X? I'll call it Twitter.
It's Twitter.
How does a 22-year-old kid get to meet the President of the United States twice? How does that happen?
Are you trying to compliment me?
I'm asking a question.
I don't know. They invited me. I don't know.
You get access to the President of the United States twice.
Well, here's why.
Actually, you met him twice, but you've probably been at the White House 4 times.
Well, hold on.
How is that possible?
5, I think, which I'm incredibly honored to
You've been
have
to the
done.
White House 5 fucking times.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly honored to have done it. Here's how it happened. They emailed me. They said, "Hey Harry, do you want to come to this event?" And I said, "Yes."
Out of 300 million Americans, you're the guy?
Well, I'm not. It's not just me. I'm not the only person on TikTok who's met the president. But
I'm not saying you are.
Right. So the White
How does
House,
that happen?
the White House, and the
5 times get to go see the White House.
The White House and the Biden administration has put a lot of emphasis on creators. They recognize that this is new media. Look at all these folks right here. We have 4,300 people in here. Overall for the live, there'll be like 50,000 people who watch this in its entirety, right? And sometimes we've gone like 100,000 people in one night, right? They recognize the importance of this media. They recognize that a lot of people get their news from social media, that they spend a lot of time on social media. That's where a lot of people have their attention. They're putting their attention there, as well as traditional media. They recognize that both is important. So in order to recognize that creators are important, they actually have to engage with creators. I'm one of the people, one of the very, 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 very extraordinarily lucky people to have had the opportunity to engage with the White House in any capacity. And I will always be grateful for that. But you're asking, why did they do this? That's why.
Harry, come on, man. You got to be handpicked.
What do you mean handpicked? What do you think that they did? Just like I was walking home from school one day and they threw me to a van and said, "You're going to start making videos online." You think that's what happened?
I think you got some money from somebody.
You know what you should do to quell your conspiracy theories? You should scroll.
Well, is a very good word, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What you should do is you should scroll all the way down to the bottom of my TikTok page. All the way down. There's like 5,000 plus videos because I've been doing this since I was 17.
I don't have that kind of time.
Well, yeah, probably not, because that's a lot of time. And anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see me, little 17-year-old Harry, posting videos when I was young in high school during the 2020 election. There was no money to start this stuff. I started this during COVID because I was bored and had nothing to do, and I cared about the upcoming election. There's been no money that's been given to me by outside groups to do what I do. I'm just here. That's all.
And that's how it started.
Yes. And I encourage, like, genuinely, if you ever have like time, you're like, oh, I'm really bored. I'm thinking about Harry conspiracy theory. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. You'll see me with this like huge head of hair on my head because I wasn't getting a haircut because of COVID.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, goddamn football on there.
I've seen them.
Yeah, right.
But
so
You don't think it's because you have a relationship in some way with pallet management,
Nope.
Midas touch?
No. You know, I
need you to answer this right now.
yeah.
Do you have a relationship with Midas touch?
I know the people that work at Midas Touch. Like, I'm cool with them. They're great guys, by the way. They're fantastic people. They really, really care about this country.
Are they sending money
No.
to pallet?
Oh, what? No.
I'm asking them, Harry.
No,
I'm not saying they. Harry,
That's crazy.
I'm not saying they are.
Okay, so the answer is
I'm asking.
no. The answer
I'm
is
asking.
no. No.
Midas
no.
touch getting money from the DNC.
No, the Midas Touch is not getting money from the DNC.
Management. You're not letting me finish.
I no, anything you're asking right now, is this person getting money and sending it to Pallet? Is this person getting money? No.
Can I finish?
Oh my God.
Is the DNC funneling money to Midas Touch, which is then funneling money to pallet management, which then funnels money to you?
No. And this is why man, it's so funny. Like, me, Chris, and like Parker and Dean and everybody behind the scenes, like, we laugh at stuff like this because it's so absurd. And like, I think a lot of people in the chat know that it's absurd, but like, it's so crazy to think that somehow the DNC is secretly funneling money to Midas Touch or the Pallet, and they're funneling it to us. Like, by the way, I just want to, the first time I went to the White House, I wasn't signed with Pallet. So how did that happen if I'm getting paid by them to do it? It just makes no sense. Doesn't matter.
Okay. So when Kash Patel takes over the FBI, right?
Yeah.
And they start investigating all these money groups, right?
Why would they? Oh my God.
Are you going to come out of this clean?
Yeah. Unless they like manufacture a charge or something like that, or like a document. Yeah. There's no like this whole thing.
Are you going to come out of this clean?
Yeah. As I said, yes. Unless they manufacture a charge or a document. Yeah. There's no creator that is getting backdoor funding from a political party. It's not happening. First of all, it'd be, legally dubious if that were to be the case.
It would be illegal. It would be illegal.
Yeah, and so there's no money. That's like, I tell you,
for you to quote anything from Midas Touch, correct?
Is it illegal to quote something from Midas Touch?
Yeah.
No.
If it's found out that you're getting money somehow from Midas Touch, that's illegal, correct?
No. First of all, I'm not getting any money from Midas Touch. Second of all, quoting something from Midas Touch, which is a news publication, is not illegal. Like, is it illegal to quote from Fox News? It's also not illegal to quote from an entity or a person that's being funded by a party, because that means you can't quote anybody that works at the RNC or the DNC. That makes no sense. But no, nobody's getting any money. There's no, I've said so many times that if the DNC, and Parker said this, Dean has said this, Chris has said this, if the DNC came to us and said, yeah, we'll pay you like $200,000 to do live streams and make videos, we would say yes. We would do it. Because goddamn, that's life-changing money. But so far, the DNC and organizations similar to it have not done that. But if they want to.
All right. I hope it doesn't ever come out for your sake.
Yeah, don't worry, it won't.
All right.
I'm telling you. I wish there's no way I can prove it to you because, you're going to believe in the conspiracy you want to believe in. There's no money. There's no backdoor anything. I wish there were. Like, oh my God, I wish there were. Like I've been doing this for 5 years, almost 5 years I've been doing this. So it'd be nice if I were making like that amount of money, but no.
All right. Harry, I don't think you're a shitty dude. People think you're a shitty dude.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is.
This is our second time talking. I appreciate you. And
man.
I hope you don't get caught up in shit.
Okay, Mike. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk another time, possibly.
All right. Eat a bag of dicks.
Okay, Mike. Oh, man. Yeah, man. Oh, dude. I think I got a Peloton now. I think perhaps I have to Peloton. I think I have to. Sydney, thanks for the $1. Support that conversation. Georgia, thanks for the 2. I read your comment. That's good to know. I appreciate you doing that research for me. So Georgia Reed, thanks for the $2. That's important information that you provided. Thank you. Emma, thanks for the 2. How much of your time do you spend researching / reading? A lot, honestly. Like my day, like I think my screen time on just on my phone generally is probably like in the double digits every single day, simply because like I'm posting on TikTok, I'm reading, I'm researching, and like, you know, all that stuff is taking place. So a lot of time. Russell, thanks. It depends on the day as well. Russell, thanks for the 50 cents. By the way, I need to hear just be quiet at least one time before you Peloton. You should Snapchat the aftermath afterwards. I should do that. I can't believe I haven't hit more people with a be quiet tonight. It's so unlike me. Veronica, thanks for the $1.50. Got any New Year's Eve plans, handsome? Wow, Veronica, how kind. What a nice thing to say. That's classified information. It's really not. Hannah, thanks for the $1. I got a bunch of Barnes & Noble gift cards for Christmas. Any recommendations? Educated by Tara Westover, my favorite book ever. Obama's memoir as well, one of my favorite books. What else? War by Bob Woodward. What's the other Bob Woodward book? Oh my fucking! What is the other book I read in like my freshman year of college? I'm not. Peril. Thank you, Anna. You're amazing in the chat. Thank you, Anna. Peril. Absolutely. Peril is fantastic. Sydney, thanks for the $1. Guest literally walked face first into that point. Yeah, you're right. That was. I know what you're talking about. Ellie, thanks for the 98 cents. Hey, Harry, I don't know if you remember from 2 nights ago. I said you saved me and WTV. Just wanted to tell you I almost got kidnapped tonight. What? Ellie, are you okay? I hope you're okay. My God. Jeez. I please report that to the police immediately. Please report that to the police immediately. I'm glad you're safe. Wow. Anna, thanks for the $5. I'm 5'8" and a secular Jew, and I'd happily pick a fight with Mike. Anna, you'd probably win. Liv, thanks for the $10. You've lived so many places, but it sounds like there's one left to try with me. Should I grab your suitcase? You know, Liv, you consistently have pretty banger lines. I can't even lie. I don't think you don't miss. Olivia, thanks for the 9 cents. Hey, Harry, I'm not sure if you've ever been interested in making merch, but I happen to work with a t-shirt company called University Tees and would love to work with you to create one if you're interested. I've never really considered it, Olivia, but I don't know if there's a demand, possibly. Not opposed. Barb, thanks for the $9.99. Love your content. You do important work. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Barb. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your support. That's incredibly kind. Jelani, thanks for the $1.95. Hot take, but sometimes an interesting side effect of your lives that you serve as like a surrogate son for old white men who've been estranged from their sons due to their commitment to bigotry and misinformation. Honestly, fascinating. Jelani, are you a psychology student by any chance? That's a fascinating take. I've never heard that one before, Jelani. I appreciate you saying that. That's interesting. Look at the lap talk. You know, I see you're spamming the live a lot. You're good. You've been doing a lot. Your hands are going crazy. I appreciate you. You're good. You know, I appreciate that a lot. Anna, thanks for the $1. Mike has used his hand. I can't read that. Anna, I can't read that out. Jaden, thanks for the $2. Hi, Harry. Happy New Year's. So grateful for you. Jaden, I'm grateful for you too. I appreciate you. Thank you. Very kind. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I just like mixed 2 statements. Ellie, thanks for the 98 cents. I'm good. We were on a scooter, but was a creepy guy. Yeah, you got to report that to the police. Caitlin, thanks for the $3.33. What you do is so important. Last of my money for you. Caitlin, I appreciate you so much. Please save your money and have a great New Year's. Please. Kendall, thanks for the $5. Please ask Law to look at my DM. Love you guys. Law of the Wild, I don't know if you're here, but look for a DM from Kendall, spelled Kyndal. Hopefully we can make that something happen. Kenneth, thanks for the $1. Still ducking me. Oh my God. Let's just bring this guy up here and quickly debunk him, bro. Because this guy will not leave me alone. He's like Venmoing me, bro. Where is this guy? KWM? Where is this guy? I normally never do this. Oh, look at this lunatic, bro. Get this guy up here, bro. I normally never do this. There's no like preferential treatment if you donate, but this guy's just literally.
Let's go, Harry.
Bro, how old are you, bro?
24.
Okay. Laney, thanks for the $1 as well. Hi from the team. Also, Laney, me, loves you. Laney, I love you back. Tyrone, thanks for the $5. And Kenneth, thanks for the $5 again. You. saying I'm ducking you. I don't know why you'd say
I mean,
that.
you're not ducking me anymore. You're
Just be
you're
quiet. Just be quiet.
Not, oh, okay, hilarious.
The 1-1. Thanks for the $5. Ace here, sending my love from Dublin, Ireland, where I lived 9 years. I lived in Dublin, Ireland. Ace, first of all, isn't it like 6 a.m. for you? First of all, that's pretty late. You should get some rest if you're still up. And happy New Year's Eve to you as well. I know Dublin specifically. Wait, let me remember my street. Grafton Street. Oh yeah. You know Grafton Street. You know O'Connell Street. You know the big ones. Those will be crazy tonight. You know St. Stephen's Green, Dundrum, perhaps Dundrum Mall. Wow. I can't even believe I remember all that stuff, man. Taylor, thanks for the $10 as well. Thanks for all that you do. Taylor, thank you for what you do. Look at all these people in the chat. O'Connell Street, Grafton Street. They know. Yeah, that's fucking sick. That's cool that people know that stuff. Monica, thanks for the 10 cents. You serve Face Card King. Just for giggles, take care of yourself. Monica, thank you. That's very kind. That's nice. Temple Bar. I've been to Temple Bar. I haven't participated in Temple Bar because I was like 14 when I was there, but I've heard the people that do participate in Temple Bar is crazy. All right, man. What do you want, bro?
Okay, I sent those as kind of I do want to talk to you, but I didn't think you would actually like. I enjoy your content. I'm MAGA, Republican, all that, but I do.
It's a disaster. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, disaster for you.
No, it's a disaster for all of us.
I mean, it means you're not going to the White House anymore.
Yeah, that's one bad thing. I will not be going to the White House. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a couple of questions I wanted to ask you?
All right.
First, in response to so the last guy was, you guys were talking about your influencer career and all that, right? Which, by the way, good for you. Like, honestly, you're hustling.
Thanks, man.
Like,
I appreciate that.
Like when people pay you, it's not like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's not like bad that you're making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But I do think you could be a lot more transparent about. Here's one. Have you ever heard of Democracy Defense Action?
Yes, I did social media consulting for them in 2022.
Okay, they paid you $13,000 in 2023. That's not an insignificant amount of money.
Yeah, I'd agree. I was very honored to work with them. But I don't understand this point. Like, I've been probably more open than most creators are on social media about like the money that I make, right? I've been honest that it's nothing crazy. I'm not making like $1 million a year. I'm not making fucking 7 figures and shit like that. I'm not rich. But why the fuck do you expect me? Why do I have to be transparent about it? Why? Like, you don't go up to random people. I don't know you, right? You don't know me. I don't know you. So why do you go up to random people on the street and ask them about like where they make their money or how much they make their money?
If they were public figures, I would.
Really? Do you really see like people, public figures? Do you see like actors or musicians being asked how much money they make and like having to like, and people being like, well, I expect you to be transparent about the money you make as like a musician, as a public figure. No, I also wouldn't consider myself like a public figure. I'm just a guy, right? But why the fuck? Yeah, why? I don't get this. Like, why the fuck do you expect me to be like transparent about money I make? Like, how much do you make?
Like 30,000.
Okay, and who pays you?
My employer.
Okay, who's your employer? Right? I mean, like, we can go down this fucking line of like, why would I?
My employer that's public information. So that's public.
Well, you work for the government?
Yes, I do.
Do you work for federal?
No, I'm a teacher.
Oh, well, that's fucking awesome. You're a teacher. That's great. But point is that I don't think that like random people on the internet or on the street or whatever should be expected to like tell you how much I make or like who.
Like, no. I'm not saying
like that's crazy.
I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm not saying like.
Okay, so then what are you fucking talking about? More transparency, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
Because when it comes to some of the stuff that you say, here's an example. So you are 100% supportive of Joe Biden, right?
Yes.
Okay. You have no disagreements with Joe Biden. None.
No, I have disagreements with Joe Biden.
Can you give me one?
Yeah, banning TikTok.
Okay, there we go. That's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going.
Okay.
Why are you opposed to that?
Why am I opposed to like banning the app or the law that was
Why
signed?
are you opposed to the TikTok ban?
I think it's too much power for a president to have. It's a huge expansion of the executive authority where a president can and his administration can kind of just deem that an app or a company is not complying with the law that was signed in, and they can just ban an app if they want to. And I don't know if I'm necessarily in favor of that. And I've been very open about this before, that if the United States government provides evidence that this app has been manipulated in a way to hurt the United States, fuck yeah, why not? Like we'll hold them. Well, then great. Like let's hold some accountability here, sell it or whatever.
Okay,
I just have not seen that evidence.
Yes or no? Does your position on this have anything to do with the fact that if the ban goes through on the 19th, it will hurt your bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Yes or
necessarily
no,
because
Harry?
of. No, it's not a yes or no. And don't try to box me in. What a disgrace. What a disaster. It's not a yes or no, because I was also doing this for free for 2 years.
Okay, but now you're not doing it for free.
You're right. Now I'm not doing it for free. Now I make money from like TikTok views and stuff like that. And like people send me stuff on here, which I'm always incredibly grateful for. Right. It's not because of a bottom line. I don't think about this as like money making. I think about that. I love doing this. I like
Your
waking up
influence has
every
nothing to
day
do with
and
it.
making. Can you just be quiet for 5 seconds, please?
No, I fucking can't.
I'll kick you then. I don't have to talk to you.
Okay, fine, go.
Okay, good boy. It has nothing to do with financials, or I shouldn't say that. The main thing at the top of the mind for me is the fact that like I like doing this. I like informing people. I like making videos. I like debating people. That's what I think about when I think about this ban.
And you couldn't do that on another platform?
No, I could. I have a YouTube channel. I have Twitter. I have Instagram. I have that stuff. But this is my main platform. It's what I've done since I was 17.
Okay, so you're because
Galaxy agent. Appreciate you.
it would hurt your bottom line if this app gets banned. Can we agree on that?
I think it would hurt like everybody.
please?
Yeah.
Agree on that?
Sure.
So your financial position has nothing to do with your position.
No, I would be, this would hurt financially, but when I'm thinking about what's the main reason personally, aside from like a policy perspective and a legal perspective, why I don't like the ban personally, it's because I enjoy doing this. Again, I did this for free for many years not because I was making any money, because I wasn't. It was because I enjoyed it. But also, why the fuck are you asking?
Because you're a public figure, Harry.
What business is you? Here's the thing. I'm not a public figure. I'm not like a goddamn celebrity. I'm just a guy, right? I'm still in college. I'm 22. I'm just a guy. But why the hell is it any of your business? Why of all things is this what you're asking me right now? Like, who do you think you are to be able to ask somebody that you don't know these kinds of questions? And the only reason I'm answering you is because not even for your benefit. It's for the people watching. If they want any insight into my thinking on this.
Insight into you thinking about the TikTok ban?
Just these questions you're asking generally.
Because I think that it's disingenuous of you to talk about, like when you make TikToks about the TikTok ban, you don't mention your stake in it.
Wait, what? Wait, why is it disingenuous?
Make the stupid face. Don't make the face.
Wait, why? No. Why is that disingenuous?
Because you're not stating the most obvious part of your position.
Wait, I think you'd have to be like a single. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think you'd have to be very unintelligent to not just inherently look at someone like myself or any other creator on this app and not understand that, yes, of course, we have a personal stake in it. Are you oblivious or what? That just might be a you problem, my man.
It's not a me problem. I figured that out pretty quickly, but you're not willing to talk about it because here's the thing. The national security concern, you don't think there's a national security concern here?
I've just told you my position before, but it went in one ear out the other. I've said that I have not seen evidence of
Joe Biden
being used in a way that is in the way that the government has said it's been used. However, if the government present evidence to us, the people, which by the way, it's not just Joe Biden that's like controlling this release of evidence or not. It's like the Department of Justice is controlling this case right now, right? then I would happily, if there's something that's compelling there, like no problem. I'll be on the side of the government then.
Okay, but that information doesn't have to be public.
Well, you're asking like, why don't I think this? I'm saying I haven't seen evidence for it.
So an
What's going on
overwhelming
here, man? I mean, what are you doing here, man? Come on, what are you?
an
what are you
overwhelming
doing here?
bipartisan
This is
majority
getting
of
bad.
Congress and the president and his intelligence apparatus
Yep.
got together in a very bipartisan way, which is rare in this country. And they decided to do this.
God, this is such a boring conversation. Like, for all the spamming you did on Cash App just to push shit like this, it's like, I've made my opinions clear. It's like, are you trying to debate the merits of the law now? Like, what are we doing here, man?
So
What are you getting at? Like, what's your motive here? What are you getting at? Just get it out. Come on.
What I'm getting at is that you're lying, is what I'm getting at.
What am I lying about exactly?
The national security is not even part of your thinking on this.
Wait, so I literally said if I can see evidence of there being a national security concern, then
they don't have to show you're an influencer.
I'm not. First of all, I'm not an influencer. I hate that word. Second of all, I'm not speaking about this from. Shut the fuck up. I'm not speaking about this from like a TikTok creator standpoint. I'm speaking about from an American citizen standpoint. I'm saying me as an American citizen would want to see evidence of their claim.
Yeah, they don't have to show
What's
you
wrong with you?
intelligence to say that this is a national. Do
you think that? Wait. Hold on. Do you think that the government shouldn't provide evidence to the people when they can about things that they're making claims about?
They hardly ever do.
I disagree. I think there's plenty of examples where they do provide the American people with like a justification or an argument or intelligence or evidence and things like that. Like, for example, in the lead up to the invasion of Ukraine, the United States government actually released aerial satellite footage and photos of the buildup of forces on the border between Russia and Ukraine to inform the American people that this is not just something that we're talking about. This is something that's actually happening, right? So that's an example, and that was like classified information. That was a decision made by the Biden administration, which is within their right to do, by the way. So yeah, I think that's an example of them being transparent. I would just like to see some evidence. And if there's evidence that there's something wrong taking place, I have no problem saying that, yes, something needs to change. Well, I mean, I guess wanting evidence is bad in your view. This is just like, this is what I'm asking. Like, what are you getting at here? Like, this is such a strange and peculiar argument to make, man.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm saying this is such a strange and peculiar argument to make.
I mean, I'm saying that you are opposed to the TikTok ban entirely because of your financial situation. And you've acknowledged, to your credit, you've acknowledged that.
I've not said that though. You're completely lying. I've not said that I'm opposed to it because of my financial situation. I've said that.
But that's part of it.
From a personal standpoint, would financials take a hit? Yes. But that's not the main reason from a personal perspective as to why I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to it from a personal perspective, again, not from a policy perspective, from a personal perspective, because I love what I do. I love being able to wake up and make videos and inform people every day. But from a policy perspective, I see issues. Just be quiet. I see issues with it from expansion of executive power, but also I just haven't seen evidence yet. But again, if there's evidence and I see evidence, I have no problem changing my position on it. Absolutely none.
I have full confidence that Joe Biden and all of the Congress people who voted for this were briefed on the intelligence.
Yeah, Bush also said there were WMDs in the Middle East.
Yeah, but that wasn't based on intelligence. He made that up.
No, wait, what? No, they made the claim that it was intelligence.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but they made the claim that it was.
Right, but it wasn't.
Yeah, we learned that later, but at the time we didn't.
Okay,
and I'm not saying that this is you're just making a bad argument. I don't know.
You think Joe Biden's making it up?
No, I don't think that Joe Biden's making it up. I would just like to see the evidence for myself. That's all.
He's seen the evidence. That's why he signed the fucking bill.
I would just like to see the evidence for myself. I mean, what's wrong with you? Like, can you not understand how like wanting on an individual level to see the evidence before making the claim that like, yeah, I think we should be able to go after the app
it's
is
pretty like
a good thing?
you don't even need to see a whole bunch of intelligence, by the way. So ByteDance.
I'm not asking for intelligence. I'm just seeing.
ByteDance is a Chinese company, right?
Yeah, the ByteDance doesn't control TikTok.
Who does?
The servers are here in the United States.
Okay, but who owns the company?
Who owns TikTok?
Yes.
Yeah, ByteDance is the parent company, but all the servers here in the are owned by Oracle, or operated by Oracle here in the United States.
Okay, so ByteDance owns the company. They won't sell it. They won't sell it. Your whole TikTok ban could have been avoided if ByteDance would have just sold the company.
I don't know why you're coming at like I'm not the fucking company. I don't know why you're like taking this up with me. Like, are you just trying to pick like an argument here? Like, my position, man. I mean, you're just trying to pick an argument, or what's going on?
I mean, there's really no point in like you. I think you're lying. Is my point. Okay. I think you're lying about your motivations.
I'll sleep just fine tonight knowing that. I mean, please. I mean, like, how many fucking Republicans think I'm lying about X, Y, or Z, man? Like, I'll be just fine.
Okay, that's great.
All right.
You got more time, or do it?
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Anything in particular?
Yeah. Let's talk about any given topic you want. I know you don't want to talk about the Middle East anymore, and I don't really want to talk about that either. So you can just leave that one alone.
Okay. All right.
You want to talk? You want to talk immigration? I don't know.
Actually, I don't think you deserve more of my time. I think I've given you enough time here, and I think that
okay.
Time that
before you kick me, can I say one thing?
No. Veronica, thanks for the $2. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Jennifer, thanks for the $1. Peloton time, my friend. This guy doesn't need entertaining. There you go. Nora, thanks for the $25. Harry, explain to me, what is it like being beautiful? Because you are. Nora, how kind. I don't even like. That's very nice. I appreciate you. That was a good line. Delaney, thanks for the 50 cents. Regarding your follow-up, I'm a film and TV son. Shout out to my baddies in screenwriting. Perhaps an A24 type looking into modern American politics in the works. P.S. You're fine. I appreciate you, Delaney. Yeah, thank you so much. Lucy, thanks for the $1. First thing that comes into life was my lifetime was to make sure that my kids were not being taken out of their parents and they weren't in the middle of anything. What? The first thing that comes into my life was to make sure that the kids were not being taken out of their parents and they weren't in the middle. Okay. Alexander, thanks for the 10 cents. How do you deal with so much hate? I just don't care. I know it's kind of like a stupid answer. I legitimately just don't care. Like if somebody in my comments is like, "Oh, I hate you," I'm like, okay. I'll as I just said to that guy, I'll sleep just fine tonight. You know what I mean? I'll be just fine. So I don't know. Maybe it's like practice because again, I've been doing this for so long, or maybe it's something else. I don't know. I just don't care. Rosie, thanks for the 1 cent. Don't read out loud. Okay. Wait. Oh yes. And Jennifer, thanks for the another $2 as well. Happy New Year to you too. Kendall, thanks for the $2. My name is Kendall Liu for Law. Thank you so much. Well, there you go, Kendall Liu. I don't know if Law of the Wild is here still. Elise, thanks for the $1.43. Happy New Year. We love you, Diva. Enjoy pelotoning. I will. Although I got to be honest, once it gets into like the 1 a.m. area, Peloton is not fun. It's not fun. Anna, thanks for the $5 for your eyes only. You got it. Wait, hold on. Wow. That's wow. That took me by surprise. Wow. You're telling me now for the first time. No, I said I wouldn't read it out loud, so I will honor her privacy. Look at that. Look at my hair in the background. What are you doing here? I will honor her privacy. Allie, thanks for the $1. You might sleep fine knowing people hate you, but you would sleep better with me next to you. You can't lie. That was so smooth. That was smooth, Allie. I can't even hold you. That was good. Josh, thanks for the $5. The way you handled that guy was absolutely surgical, says Josh. I appreciate that, Josh. Thank you, man. Yeah, dude, it's just like, there's not many things that make me uncomfortable on social media, right? Like, again, I've been doing this my dono on Cash App. Hold on, let me check, buddy. Hayden? Oh, there it is. Hayden the creator. $1 because you genuinely flipped me to Democrat. Hey, I'm so glad to hear that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Hayden. That's very, very kind. I'm glad to hear that, man. W. Hayden in the chat. Wow. You love to hear it, man. But Josh, to your point, there's not many things that bother me or make me uncomfortable. Maybe that's not the right word. I don't know what it is. But regardless, there's not many things that I dislike in terms of interaction on social media. I deal with crazy people. I talk to crazy people all the time. You know, people say terrible things. That doesn't bother me. But when I don't understand why do people care so much about the financials? Like, why does everybody have like conspiracies that like I'm getting paid or Parker or Dean or Chris are somehow getting paid and we're rolling in dough? Like, I just don't understand. Number one, I don't understand where that comes from. But number two, I don't understand why these people feel so comfortable asking like somebody that they don't know about their financials. Like I would never, ever in a million years ask another creator how much they make. And I would never, not even a creator, I wouldn't ask anybody how much they make that I don't know, right? If you know somebody and you're like comfortable with them, if you guys have that kind of like open communication, then that's fine. Like whatever. I understand that, you know, certain dynamics are allowing for that. But like somebody you don't know that you've never met on the internet, I've always been so confused. It's like, what is wrong with you guys? But I've been clear about this, that none of us are millionaires, man. We're not rich. We're not I don't know how much more clearly I can say it. No, they won't believe me no matter what I say. It's tacky. Somebody in the chat said, yeah, it's tacky. It's gross. It's gross. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe people want transparency on that stuff. I've never met somebody that's like, yeah, I think you should be. But anyway, Nicole, thanks for the $5. You should have asked that conspiracy nut what his opinion and motive is when they want to get rid of the Department of Education, and will it hurt his bottom line? That's a really good point, Nicole. I wish I thought about that. Do you have a headphone dent? Reed says. Probably. Brienne, thanks for the $5. Hating Trump and a great TikTok dude. Thanks for your time and knowledge. Brienne, I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate you a lot. Maybe it's Brian, and maybe I'm just totally butchering your name. I hope I'm not. But thank you, man. I appreciate your support. You can correct me. Feel free to. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing everybody's name correctly. Sid, thanks for the $2. My MAGA grandma was hate searching for you for some reason and accidentally set you as her background on her phone. It's been there for 2 weeks. Keep it there. Keep it there. Keep it there. Look at Sarah in the chat. What a disaster. Anna, thanks for the $1. I'm clearing my name. That Anna who made Harry shocked was not the editor. Yes, it was not. It was not. I can confirm. Haley, thanks for the $11. How much money do you make so you can take me on a date? See, that was good. I can't even hold you. That was good. Michael, thanks for the $1 as well. You've educated me in such a way. I can't thank you enough. And the work you do is admired. I hope you have a great, happy New Year's. You too, my man. I hope you have a great, happy New Year's as well. And to everybody watching, listen. And Danny, thanks for the 96 cents. How much longer are you going to be live? I have some terrible news. Anyway, not long. Everybody, I'm going to wrap up the live there. Thank you all so very much for being here. I appreciate you. If you want to raid some people, you have Good Trouble, Manda Rose, Isaiah Martin, Dom Two Fly. They're all doing some TikTok live debates right now. If you want to go check them out and say hi, I would highly encourage you to do that. They're good people. So go raid them. Go say Harry raid if you do. But before you go, I have one last thing to say. Before you go, make sure to follow on all the social media platforms. Follow on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Blue Sky, on Snapchat. All of those links are in my bio and my link tree. And especially with a possible TikTok ban, make sure to go over there and follow if you'd be so kind. And I see somebody saying they dumped X. That's understandable. I'm just saying if you do have it, it would mean a lot if you would go follow. But all the links are in my bio. And as I've said, before, my main platform, if TikTok gets banned, will be Instagram and YouTube, and Twitter, of course. But mainly YouTube, I'd say. We'll move debates over there, and there'll be videos and stuff and whatnot. So go follow on all the platforms. But listen, everybody, Happy New Year's. Have a great day tomorrow. Whatever you're doing for New Year's, enjoy. And also, first and foremost, go watch some college football. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow for New Year's. It's going to be great. But if you have New Year's planned, you have Twitch. I'm going to have Twitch soon. Don't worry. I'll get that link there for you guys. If you have New Year's plans, enjoy. You'll have a great time. If you don't have New Year's plans, you'll have a great time as well. You're going to have so much, the peace, the prosperity you'll have will be fantastic. And I appreciate you. I'm rooting for you. And I think you're amazing, each and every one of you. And here's to a good new year. Yeah. All right. I gave my speech last night. I can't give it 2 nights in a row, but I appreciate all of you guys. Go Bills. We like a New York team. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in between, enjoy. I'll see you in the new year, I guess. No, we'll see. Anyway, all right, everybody. We'll talk soon. Thank you, everybody, and have a good rest of your night and Happy New Year. And thank you, Medine, for the whale diving. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. See you, everybody. Enjoy, and we'll talk soon.